Everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. And man, this is an honor and a privilege today. We got Carmine Rojas. We're going to show some love to the rhythm section.
Yeah.
Not only is this guy just a badass on bass, he's a really cool human being. He is funny as shit. I mean, the first time we spoke, I was literally in tears, so I knew this would be good. He's a New York homie. He's from the other end of the D train to me. And we're gonna rock and roll. So, and I want to give a quick shout out to our mutual friend Eddie Martinez.
Yes,
and if you don't know Eddie's guitar playing, please check it out. Eddie's a lovely guy and connected us. So thanks very much, bro. All right,
kisses to the boys from the Bronx.
Absolutely, man. Let me give you Carmine's background real quick. He's originally from Brooklyn. He's an incredibly successful session and touring bassist and music director. He toured the world with David Bowie from 83 through 87, playing bass and coming up the bass line on Let's Dance, China Girl, Modern Love, and Blue Jean, as well as 2 live Bowie DVDs. Throughout the 2000s, he played on 7 albums with Joe Bonamassa and 3 with Joe and Beth Hart. He recorded and toured with Rod Stewart as his music director and bassist from 88 to 2003, playing on the multi-platinum live CD and DVD Unplugged and Seated. He also co-wrote songs on the albums Vagabond Heart and A Spanner in the Works. Man, I had Jim Cregan on the show a long time ago.
Oh, sweetheart.
Yeah, really lovely guy. Carmine also recorded and toured with Julian Lennon as music director and bassist for 2 years. Now listen to this, like I had to abbreviate this. He's recorded, toured, or played alongside Tina Turner, Keith Richards, Stevie Wonder, Ron Wood, Stevie Ray Vaughan, B.B. King, Mick Jagger, Eric Clapton, Eric Johnson, Al Green, that's pretty cool, Paul Rogers, John Waite, Steve Winwood, Billy Joel, Herbie Hancock, Robert Randolph. I had that guy on here. He was a trip. Bobby Womack, Sam Moore, Billy Gibbons, Leslie West, the great Leslie West, Joe Lynn Turner, Santana, Todd Rundgren, Patti LaBelle, Nona Hendryx. This list goes on. Glenn Hughes, he was a member of Nektar, and dozens of other successful artists. Carmine and guitarist Marcos Nand share vocals in Spanish and English in their band Ziroc, Z-I-R-O-Q. The band blends Latin rock and Eastern influences to produce catchy melodies with really great grooves. I would encourage you to check out the first record, Ziroc, Z-I-R-O-Q, and there's another record in the works. It'll be out next year for sure. The band song Que Peña from their first album peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Tropical Salsa chart. And again, check out the new record. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited to talk with you.
We're hanging. we're hanging out going, what's going to happen to us? 18 months being buried in a cave, nice to see people here,
I know, man. I know. I just got to ask you one question. I don't know.
What's that?
I've heard some rumors.
Okay.
And I just want you to clarify. Is there any truth to the rumors I've heard that Malongo Brothers is moving headquarters from Stockholm, Sweden to Paris, France?
Yeah, the office has closed in Finland, actually. We went from Finland. Oh, that's funny. I know where that came from. Yeah. Your office manager moved.
I called him yesterday. I said, give me some shit.
Oh, that's so good. That's good. Tell them we're moving to Beirut. We're relocating to Beirut. Oh, that was good. Yeah, we have this just, it's like a fraternity. Even Rod Stewart or Robert Palmer, we're all part of the Malongo Brothers, even you. It's just, and you don't have to kill anybody to join the team,
Oh my God.
Or take somebody out.
I'm laughing so hard, I'm crying, man.
Well, that's the whole point. We'll sit there and do stupid shit. We start making up shit and we look at each other. We automatically start laughing. Especially with Tony Thompson, God bless his soul. He would have come up with the silliest things, and we look at him going, "How'd you think of that?" And then we just go like kids, because that's how we did on tour. We were like laughing on the road when we were kids and come up with stupid shit and just laugh the whole time. Even Patti LaBelle would go like, "What's wrong with those boys? They're on drugs or something."
Oh my God!
It's really important to laugh, and you're with your mates or people you don't really know, and they get into the sense of humor of stuff, and it's infectious. It's just something you have to share with people. And again, yeah, keeping a team of brotherhood, female and male,
Sure.
together. And we have female Milonga brothers too,
Of course.
They're there too. They're all involved. Pets and dogs and birds. We got all kinds of things going on in the camp.
Oh my God. All right. So now the interview is going to officially start.
I love that.
Oh my God. I can't look at you now. Oh,
that was good. You had to get it out. Nice office in Beirut. Okay. Serious. Okay.
serious. All right. I can't even talk. All right. If I don't look at you for like 5 minutes, I might be able to ask a question. All right. You started off as a drummer. I was curious how you got into music in general and what made you switch over to bass.
I wasn't good at it. For one thing, as a drummer, my brother was a lot better as a drummer. Actually, my younger brother at the time, he died from hepatitis. He was. I was 16. He was 13. He was very talented. He could sing. He could play keyboards. He could do all the stuff. So at the moment, I think at the moment was because it was percussion. We grew up in Puerto Rico. We grew up listening to Latin salsa music in Brooklyn. And just all those rhythms was so cool to listen to. I just thought drums would be, or percussion instrument would be kind of very cool. So I tried a little bit on drums. Wasn't really that good at it, but he did. My brother just went like, "You mean you were trying to do this?" Going like, how'd he do that? He broke into a James Brown thing over a Latin thing going, wow, how did, and he said, I don't know. It was very natural at that kind of stuff. So I gravitated more to bass because someone needed a bass player in this rehearsal place in a basement in Brooklyn with Herbie and Felix Bankheads. And that's the band we were involved in. And that's how I switched over because I was not that good at it. I knew in my heart, what I hear, but I seem to interpret better on the bass. And that took a little while too. The bass, I kind of gave it up 3 times because I was trying too hard. When I stopped trying too hard, that's when I got the knack of it organically. Some people can just get on it. I took, I was forcing myself to try to find something when I stopped forcing myself and let it just happen universally, then it did. Surprisingly. I mean, that's sometimes you have to give it up to the universe.
Yeah, man. I hear you on that. Yeah. When you stop being so willful sometimes and just like whatever is meant.
Yeah. Whatever is meant to be or whatever. Yeah.
This guy told me something about 2 years ago now. And ever since he told me that, it's really impacted my life. He said, don't be part of the results committee.
Perfect.
And it's like, because you can't control that anyway. So just control the work you're doing. And then, like you said, leave it up to the universe or your higher power, whoever your thing is, man. Yeah. I like that.
There's a lot of people who we admire, want to be like or play like. Even to this day, there's people I'll hear or go back to old albums and go, God, I wish I could do that kind of stuff. But wasn't meant to be. I was meant to do something quite differently. Or I was meant to interpret whatever that was into the way I hear it. And then hopefully somebody will take it from my place and put it into another level. It's good. You got to practice. You got to play a lot. You got to jam with people. As a bass player, I have to play with a percussion instrument, like a drummer or guys who do percussive stuff. Because bass is the foundation of the earth. Without the bass and drums, shit doesn't happen. There's no way of the foundation withstanding or standing strong. So it was really important I find drummers or percussionists or guys or rhythm guitar players who were into that kind of stuff. And it was great to find grooves and as growing up as a kid, we had James Brown, we had salsa and Latin, we had Stax, we had Motown. In the 60s, we had some really great stuff going on. Yeah. And they found a way of getting on the radio. And it was beautiful when you hear it executed a certain way. Even the Zombies, the band Zombies.
Oh hell yeah, those guys are great.
She's not there. Whoever was, I can't remember who played bass on it, but the actual pattern going, wow, that's an interesting pattern.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. It's like an old, like a jazz fever or something. You give me fever or something.
Yeah.
And those and they had another single. What's the other single? She's Not There.
She's Not There. That was yeah, it was She's Not There. What was the first one you said?
I think I said boom, boom, boom. Time of the Season.
Time of the Season. Right.
But She's Not There had a really interesting pattern going, and it sounded like a guitar player, bass player kind of a thing. But it was like, wow, that's an interesting approach. After listening to R&B and Latin, and thank God, because that influenced me hearing things to take a different approach. When the English invasion came to America in the 60s, I mean, like I said, I was listening to R&B and Latin a lot. And then this English invasion came in going, what the hell is all that going on over there?
Yeah.
So I was just gravitated to just interesting lines. And on top of that, like the Moody Blues, Nights of White Satin. And I'm listening to Oye Como Va, Tito Puente version. And then I hear Nights of White Satin going, wow, what a drastic but beautiful pieces.
Yeah.
And so my ear really kind of gravitated to all that kind of stuff. And it was, Ozzy Osbourne, Frank Sinatra, for me, it was music all the way around, and back then you had AM radio and FM started later on.
Sure.
But we had a lot of stuff on AM radio, just the crisscrossness of everything else. It was absolutely beautiful. That the 60s and early 70s were a particularly great time for bass players, and guitar players and everybody else. But as a songwriter, it really opened my head up with the English invasion, coming 1965, 66, the Beatles and all that kind of stuff. And then the Who and then Hendrix. It just blew my mind as a kid going, what is going on? And it was happening in real time.
Sure.
And that's like, whoa, what the, what's going on? Spooky Tooth, it escalated.
Did your parents musical? Like, it sounds like they supported you and your brother in music.
I was raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
And my mom, who I thought at the time was like my aunt or something, because she was very young, my mom. But my grandmother, I always thought and will always think it's my mother, because she's the one who raised me. My dad wasn't around at all, but I could hear him if I try to go visit him or find out where he's staying at. Where he's living at, he sings in the shower. He tried to be a crooner, so he could pick up more chicks. So if he crew in a certain way and dress all clean or whatever, then he can get hooked up. That was his thing.
Yeah.
But there was nobody musical that I knew about in my family. But it was something that we gravitated to because it was everywhere in our neighborhood. It's on the balconies, it's on the fire escapes, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
It's blasting everywhere. So the 60s, you really get to hear your salsa stuff, and this is before Fanta All Stars, and then you hear your pop radio and your Dick Clarks, and this is before Soul Train. So when it ended up being like 68, 69, it was absolutely awesome, the stuff that was coming out, and we were of age where I would go to the Fillmore East or go to the Garden. I kind of I was old enough to go to the Fillmore East, but you get to see these amazing three bands, folk, Bill Graham, God bless him. He really knew how to show you, like, introduce you to Miles Davis, introduce you to Jethro Tull, and folk artists. And the combination is always very beautiful. So we were very fortunate in the 60s and early 70s to see these things and to be a part of it. And musically, that's part of my whole education and what my big ass melting pot. And I just, instead of trying to be somebody or sound like somebody, I just wanted to mix all that together into one big pot. And that's who I am, even as a person.
And you've done a fantastic job at it for a long time, man. So
I'm still working at it. Still working. People allow it. Again, some producers, some writers and arrangers, if they get hired for a session, sometimes either they're afraid of their own infidelity or they're afraid of their ego or not. When you hire us guys like us, you're expecting to take your shit further.
Yes.
So that's why you hire us, so we can open up wherever you think you're trying to go and you can't go. So you have us to help you along on your journey. And most times it's just that their own ego, they're just afraid of it because it's too big for them, or they don't want to take any chances. And you got to let go. Some of that stuff. That's why it shouldn't be militant. Music, you can't have music being a militant kind of a thing, or control on the radio where it's sectioned off. This is jazz, this is blues, this is rock. It's a really an eternal, universal fusion of love, and it's just, you can't control it. You shouldn't have to categorize it, try to make a business out of it. I mean, yes, you have to make a business out of it. That's why it's a music business. But there are just some who just really hold the reins and don't let it breathe. So that's why I tell kids, go listen to ECM records. It may go over your head, but listen to it quietly, listen to it in deepness, and see what you can get out of it. Think of what you're playing as a painting or as an art, like a Picasso or Dali. Look at it that way, and sketches. Don't feel bad that you don't sound like a Jocko. Don't feel bad you don't sound like a Marcus Miller, or whoever else, whoever you're trying to emulate, and don't let people push you to emulate them. Try to find who you are. Yeah. And if your voice is this small, it's still a voice.
I like that, man. I watched an interview you did, and you talked about Latin Boogaloo. Do you remember this guy, Joe Bataan?
Yeah, hell yeah. I used to watch him when I was a kid.
I had him on my show.
You did?
Yeah.
He's still alive?
He's like a legend, man. He was telling he went to the joint. He was talking about in prison. I mean,
he's done all most of those guys have. They used to do heroin. What was that song? It was
Taxi.
The first hit. The first hit was Beep Beep. Beep Beep. No,
Taxi Joe, or wasn't it called Taxi Joe or something like that?
That was another song. But
I picked my girl up at the train station, and I went down to get some Chinese food or something like that.
It was Latin Boogaloo. It was really cool because it was the influence of the rock into the Latin. Yeah. And it was very groovy, and you're doing the psychedelic, dancing around with it. Yeah. Oh yeah, those were great bands, Latin Boogaloo, and Larry Harlow was another one, part of the Latin Boogaloo gang. And Fonto All-Stars came in at that point. Yeah, 68, 69 really brought in those kind of bands where they were influenced rock with Latin. Yeah. Even the Rascals. You were mixing it. It's a beautiful morning. The bass lines were beautiful. Yeah. When you listen to the Rascals, you can hear the combination of the jazz, Ron Carter on bass, with the pop, and it was really, it was pretty cool.
Okay, so I know you've been asked about this. I hope this is the only question I'll be asking that you've been asked before. Oh, no, your first major gig, you're 19, and you get hooked up with Labelle. How did you get that gig, and what were you doing musically prior to that?
I was in a band called Buff, Buff, and we were out of Brooklyn, and we were thinking of, my brother was actually a drummer in that band, and we went to Philadelphia to play for a friend of ours who's another guy from Brooklyn who lives in Philly, and we kind of went to Philly, and we were the most different band. All those bands in Philly were pretty much the same. Great bands early on. This is 70, 71. And somehow we hear this, well, at that point in time, my brother passed away. So we went there and found another drummer in Philly named Larry Davis, great drummer. And we formulated a brand new band called Buff. So I know I'm cutting through the stories, but my brother passed away. So we went to Philly to kind of get over what was happening. And we saw a great drummer there. So we grabbed him to be part of the band. And some of the guys were already having relationships in Philly. So we were there a little longer than we had to be. And then we hear a rumor that Patti Labelle was auditioning for bands, full bands, to come and audition. But it was in New York. So we went back to New York all together and auditioned for Labelle. And it was rumor was there was about 50 bands. And it was up to us and a band called Haystack Balboa from Long Island.
Balboa, what a name.
Yeah, great name. And they were really a great band. I think they were from Long Island. And we got it because Labelle was looking for a band that looks like the Jeff Beck group. That we dressed very, very English, sound very English. So we had our vibe was the band sounds like the Jeff Beck Group, Santana and War, and can incorporate gospel and R&B.
So you were like WABC, the house band for WABC radio station, sort of. No, like they played everything like that.
Yeah, we were really good at it, and we were big fans of the Jeff Beck. We were big fans of Traffic, so we knew all those bands that we were big fans of. So the manager, Vicky Wickham, English woman who used to work at Ready Steady Go, a very famous TV show in England, was manager of Labelle. So again, she saw us going, these guys know Traffic, they know Steve, they know the music of, Spooky Tooth and Jethro Tull and all those kind of bands, and they can play R&B, and they're, this is the perfect band, and we look cute in, velvet pants and all that kind of stuff. We're all pretty thin, and it worked out perfect. And we mixed that, and as we were at Labelle, the process, we got to play more gospel stuff mixed with the rock.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love it.
And we did rock. We did, Won't Get Fooled Again in the show. We did a lot of stuff. Wild Horses, different arrangements of those kind of songs.
In Patti's show.
Yeah, because they were so much into the rock stuff because of Vicky Wickham and Nona Hendryx. And
okay.
And back in the day with Patti Labelle and the Bluebells, they toured with the Stones. They toured with those kind of bands.
Right. Okay.
So and they were friends of those bands, like Keith Richards. They were friends forever. So we would see those kind of guys come around, and Pete Townsend or Elton John, who was their kind of musical director as a kid when they go to England. They had their pickup bands, and Reginald DeWhite, which is his real name.
Yeah,
he would be the keyboard player in the house band.
Wow.
Yeah, Elton was he knew Patti for a long time too. So it was a beautiful combination of us being involved with Labelle and still keeping the English roots and the R&B roots together at the same time. So we didn't have to change anything. We would just kind of go along with the program and add it.
That was your first big gig. What did you?
That was the first. Yeah, that was my first really big gig. I'm actually physically playing. Otherwise, I was a roadie for Sly and Family Stone.
Holy shit! So
yeah, before that, I was in a road crew for Sly and Family Stone. We had an East Coast road crew, and we would go out and do all the East Coast dates because it was cheaper.
Man, you got so many stories. I don't even know where to start here. Okay, just tell me one funny thing with the Sly. I can't imagine all the wild shit that went down there.
I'm old school, so I'm not allowed to talk.
until they're dead. I know.
yeah, exactly. Even then, they can still come back and get you even from the grave. No, it was just an experience of working with someone that big, looking from backstage before I was even, playing in front of an audience, looking from the back and watching that energy of power of song when it hits with the audience, and how magical and how gifted that has to be. The power of music, of affecting whether it's a small theater or a giant stadium. And watching that from the sideline, it was like, wow, and in my head, I'm thinking, this is before Labelle. I'm thinking, wow, maybe it's something, if I'm going to be serious, I'm going to have to be serious to get to this point. I wonder what that is like to be in front. So every now and then, I'll go check Larry Graham's bass or Freddie's guitar, and look around and before the audience and kind of feel around going, and I just wasn't sure in my head this is something I really wanted because it was too big, and physically and mentally I wasn't there yet to be playing in some sort of stadium or I gotta you really have to start from down here. You just can't jump to stadiums if you don't know what it's like to be in a club or a theater.
Sure.
And there's a lot of bands now that are jumping straight through big festivals or whatever, but they have no idea what it's like to be in the shithole and go through, just to
carry your own amps and shit like that.
All that crap, and playing places where you shouldn't be playing in, and audience that you shouldn't be playing for. There was some pretty deep places back in the day down south and stuff like that. But you knew who your enemies were. That was the best part. You knew that guy doesn't like you. So, and I was cool with you.
So there was some racial shit back in the day.
There was always. There was
When
always
you go down south? Are you kidding? Holy shit.
There was more, actually, to be honest, there was more racist stuff up north because they wouldn't let you know they were racist. People, they'd be nice to you, whatever. And so you figure that, that's kind of cool until you travel enough and you study going, wait a minute, this guy, I don't no disrespect, but the redneck guys, you could see him you could see him at a restaurant, that you're not allowed to be in, or a bar or something, and you could feel
like the anger that the guy had.
Yeah, that you shouldn't be there. So, and I'm cool with it because at least I know where you are in a room.
Yeah.
Now, if I go play Boston or up in Connecticut somewhere, there's a lot of them the same way too, but they hide this, they hide behind a facade or something. And I didn't realize that 2 years later, where you're going, you know what? Human beings are an interesting bunch of people.
Yeah.
Because it's not animals that are destroying the planet, it's human beings that, we sabotage shit all the time. And it's really not fair to the planet that, that we're supposed to be taken care of. So it's
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and it's the South was very strange because I had stories from my grandmother. My grandmother used to travel back and forth from California to New York on a train, and she's African. My grandmother, she's African looking. Mm-hmm. So Spanish. She was mixed of from Puerto Rico. We were a combination of Taino Indians and Africans.
Okay.
So and then you have your Spaniards mixed together with everything else. And every other flavor that was ever coming off the ships from Columbus. Dirty bastard. he met his brothers. sorry to all the Italians out there, but he was a scumbag. Sorry, I apologize. Indigenous Day. But they really, come to a place that was already been discovered. So you didn't discover anything. There were probably people here thousands of years. Come on, really. You just came to steal, rape, and leave VD behind and call it a day. That's what they did.
This is like the second question. We've covered about 40 topics already. This is awesome, man. Just keep talking, Carmine.
See, now you lost track. Fucking Columbus. God damn it. Yeah, so in the South, yeah. But that's what you see. I got to see, I did physically see in 1965, the last remnants of, water fountains, white and black. And the bathrooms are pretty shitty. I had to live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was at the time still going through its phases because my mom and my stepdad were living there. So I went there for the summer and I got to see some stuff. And to me, it was like being in the movie, it's like going, well, that can't be real, and I had a couple of, not to go into detail, but into a couple of physical confrontations about it because I just couldn't believe it was actually, I thought it was in the movies. I just saw West Side Story. So, in real life.
You're growing up in New York too.
In Brooklyn. And in Brooklyn, it's everything's real around you. Everything is black and white around you.
Yeah.
And when you see something that you saw on TV that's different than the way you see it back home, it seemed like it's in a movie,
Well, something trucks, like that, when you see colored and white, that is.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because at first, like I said, my grandmother,
out of context.
My grandmother had stories. My grandmother had lots of stories, lots of stuff. And she would, put her head down and make sure there's no eye contact. She went through that whole shit, the whole school. She came to America in 1926. So she saw a lot of stuff. And because she was dark. And again, she didn't speak English that well yet. And she was learning, but she knew common sense. She was really good. And she could read a person a mile away.
Is that where you got it from?
I hope so. Yeah. It influenced from her because she was really good. I still don't know how she does it. And I don't know how I do it sometimes. And, I'm not perfect at it, but she was perfect at it. And I think there's a difference between a woman's intuition and a man's intuition.
Interesting.
The women somehow, their radar is a lot wider than ours. They can give birth. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing.
And they've been through so much crap through the centuries and thousands of years of trying to be who they are and not being able to be who they are for thousands of years until they got the right to vote in the 19th century. I mean, like, really, come on, guys.
Yeah, I know.
And they were in power in a lot of places all over the world, but you just never really hear about it. Now it's all, you know, it's all out in the open, which is great.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm 1,000% in support of whatever way they want to go, because they really, their intuition is so strong and so dead on. My girl, her intuition is like, it's like, what are you reading Braille or something? How'd you do that? Yeah.
Okay, so after Labelle, what were some of your challenges as far as, you know, you wanted to keep things moving at that point, I assume. What were some of the challenges and how'd you keep it moving?
Well, I had to just kind of, you know, Labelle just kind of opened up my head how serious you can be with it. You know, if you either you challenge yourself to play with different kinds of people, move forward, or, you know, like I'm going, wow, this is really cool. You get to travel different places around the world. You get to meet different kinds of people. You get to see amazing players, you know, that just kind of are not famous. Yeah. And you forget that there are all kinds of guys out there that are just absolutely stunning, will never be famous, and some of them don't want to be, you know, but there's a lot of treasures everywhere on this beautiful planet that we live on. So I'm thinking in my head, wow, you know, this is great. We got a great band. Labelle's moving. And the Labelle thing lasted for me 72 and 73. And then in 74, I stayed in Philly working at the Philadelphia International label there, Sigma Sounds, with producers there, local producer there, who writes songs for the 3 Degrees and stuff like that. So I worked for him for a little bit.
So you were like the house band at that label?
Kind of. There were real serious house guys in there, but I was kind of like there, and I was kind of like the rock guy. You know, if they wanted something to look a little more, sound a little more edgier, a little different than what the guy was doing, then I get a call for it.
Okay.
Well, there wasn't too many calls, you know. And funny thing is that Bowie was already there too. I didn't meet Bowie and those guys, but they did the album, Young Americans album.
Right.
So that gave them the head, like, you know, maybe we should get a couple more rock bands that come in here. You know, let's not make it just solely, you know, R&B.
Yeah,
Let's break it up for a little while. But yeah, I just had to tell myself, and the only way you're going to win forward is to run with the same pack. So at that point, we've been together for 4 years, the band Buff, and it was starting to fall apart a little bit. You know, people were either getting too high, or they weren't taking the song seriously. I was into the songwriting and wanted to move forward and do more gigs, and they were getting lazy at this point. So I was looking for another outlet to get out. And I met a bunch of different people at Drexel University, which was in our neighborhood where we lived in
Philly.
Paladin Village, yeah, right near the train station. And the band ended up being called Baby Grand.
Oh yeah,
progressive. Yeah, a very progressive band. And I met this wonderful songwriter, guitar player, Eric Bazillion, who was just to this day he's still a blessing. And hung out with him, and we kind of got and it was Dave Prater on drums, and we kind of got together doing this thing for Baby Grand, and it actually did an album. And it was a progressive album because I was into progressive bands like M. Second Palmer, The Nice, Gentle Giant. I was into, so I wanted to get into that realm, and I was a huge fan of Yes, especially a Chris Squire fan. So I wanted to get into that stuff and see if I could mix the R&B inside of it, you know, because that's what they do sometimes, you know, like Paul McCartney would do always.
Yeah.
But that band was a great little vehicle where people could see me doing other things. They could see me not doing this, I could do that, and I could, you know, just the variations, because it was important for me to be, the versatility was very important to me, that I could show that I'm versatile in whatever situation that I'm in.
But I also think you liked so much music. It wasn't like a stretch. I mean, you would.
No, it wasn't a stretch. I did like all the English stuff, and I love how they would do the bass lines. You know, like especially the prog bands. They were more guitar player, bass player. They weren't really bass players, so they were interesting how they would approach tone and the big crunch like John Entwistle would have or Paul McCartney would have. Chris Squire had just this amazing plethora of sounds.
Yeah.
and I wasn't always a big fan of guitar bass player kind of guys because it didn't feel like a bass to me. And some of the parts, Paul McCartney can get away with it. Chris Squire can get away with it because the parts were like, wow, that's really cool because it doesn't always sound like a guitar part.
Yeah.
like doubling with a guitar part, and they were really being creative with the bass lines. So I didn't want to get too far away from, Chuck Rainey and James Jameson and Chris Squire and Paul McCartney. I still like to blend the world of that, and and all the world music stuff, if it was possible, the Latin stuff underneath it, because again, there's that whole thing with the '60s we grew up in, which is the soundtrack of my life in the early '70s. And then we mentioned something earlier about the Rascals.
Yes.
There's a song called Groovin'.
Yeah, great song.
If you listen to the bass, it's a Latin bass. It's a beautiful rock pop Latin bass.
Go back and check that out.
Yeah, listen to the bass on it. Just real simple, a Latin rock bass. And you can hear that on the radio, clear as bell. It's just simple, it's right there in beautiful tone. So they're mixing Latin with rock and pop. I want to be that guy, or try to be that guy.
Yeah.
In my head. And everything.
I think you were that guy.
Eventually, yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I still work at it. I still work on, just different parts of songs where I could, it's not a lead bass, but it's a melody bass where it fits with the vocalist or whatever. And, it depends on the braveness of the artist, the writer, or the producer of letting me do a couple little things. So I've been fortunate. I've been fortunate to get away with a lot of stuff.
Well, but your work ethic.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Before I go in, I always find out who the producers are and the engineer. I try to find out what they've done in their past and how I can complement them too. Find out what their situation. So I'm aware of who they are in the room, not just kind of walk in and say, "Hey, I'm the bass player. Let's go."
Right.
That's not me. I'm there to study and to pick up and learn from whoever's in the room. And sonically, when you're in this working doing, and sessions is different from playing live.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight. There are two different worlds. There are two different approaches. There's the same approach going in, but you have to really, like left ear, right ear, you have to really be sensitive of your sound, your tone, flat wound strings, round wound strings. There's all these little things you have to really kind of adjust to the producer, who most of them are pretty temperamental. And you have to kind of, you gotta fluff a little bit, not give in everything, but enough where understand where they come from and go, okay, I know he loved this. Like a short story would be Bob Claremountain.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of Avalon. This is '82, and then he ended up working on the Bowie Let's Dance album. So I was already a big fan, and I knew he was a bass player. So I'm thinking, wow, he's got such great sound for Neil Jason on the Avalon album.
Right.
This would be great. All I have to do is play my parts right or come up with something really neat and clever, and I won't have to worry about sound or tone. But right. I got to come in with something right. And it was magical working with him. It was way too easy. Like he would suggest, what do you think we should have a sound on this thing? And I would say something, then just turn my back for a second, and then, hit the string, go, what just happened? It's already there. That's how he's just a perfectionist, and he knows the sound and feel. And it was never a problem of getting sounds and tones. And luckily the guitars and my hands were working quite well together at that moment in time. And it was an opportunity to do this right. And so some engineers who are just magical. And mastering guys are just magical when the sound and tone at the end of the day, when they come up finished with the finished product. But again, going back to the prog stuff with Baby Grand, that's got me out of Labelle into Baby Grand, into Nektar, doing more real serious prog, German prog stuff. It got darker as I moved to Germany, because it was a whole nother playing with the real English guys who really do that stuff for a living. And the smell is different and the sense is different, and the drummers are a millisecond behind the beat. It was just an interesting schooling for me, because most drummers are either the American drummers are on top of it or ahead.
Yeah,
these guys are a millisecond behind the way they play, and that's why I always wonder why those English drummers like Mitch Mitchell and some of the guys like the guy in Jethro Tull or PJ Wilson from Procol Harum and those kind of guys. It always sounded fat because they sat back on stuff, and it's like, wow, that's kind of pretty cool. It's like an R&B drummer, but a different heartbeat. So I had to get used to playing with different English drummers, South African drummers, and again doing sessions. Like I said, it's two separate worlds. You really get to home in what you're about and where your heartbeat is. And there's a lot of drummers I've worked with, and different heartbeats, and different feel and sound, and feeling that do I fit in, do I don't fit in, and at times where it doesn't gel because either it won't or nobody's trying for it. There's always those possibilities, or I'm the wrong guy for the job, or the right guy for the job, and not the drummer.
Let me ask you a few questions from stuff you said. Your service, you're like very clear that you're in the service business. I've watched a lot of interviews. In other words, business. Yeah, you're in the service. Like you're here to serve, to make this song better. You're I'm
a team player.
Yeah, very much so.
Always have been.
Where did that come from?
God, that would have to be from my grandmother, I guess. Just family, culturally, the bond of being in a team. And I've always wanted to be in a team to be supportive, because you're stronger as a force when we go in at it all together. We're strong. We're a lot stronger mentally. And when you have a gang coming with you, it's just a lot more powerful, especially when you're working on the same thing. You're going and you're running the same direction. Yeah, it's a lot more powerful. Like having my grandmother always there, or the strength of the family behind your back. That's always been a very key thing for me. And I've always, all my life, actually, not even most of my life, but majority of my life, I've looked for teams like that I could feel I could be a part of a family and add to what they have.
Okay.
I'm there to provide, like you said, and I'm not just there to play bass. I'm there to, I have ideas too, and I want to be able to share if it's possible to share with you. Is there a slot or an opening or whatever? Because I'm very creative myself. Yeah. So if I can be part of a team that I can be creative to, then I'm pig in mud, happy.
Yeah, but I'm just so impressed by that, especially at a young age. And you didn't come from nobody was a musician. No. I mean, it's pretty. I just saw that ahead of your years.
I saw that kind of part of not consciously thinking about it. It works. When you're around great guys and you start jamming and it starts happening, you see the reaction of the people going, okay, it's happening. And then subconsciously you go into a different place playing wise. Yeah. Again, you can't force it. It's gotta happen organically. Yeah. And when that happens, it's just so cool. And you can't question it. You can't say, how the fuck did I just do that? It's time passed. So you keep moving forward with that, and you keep looking for those kind of people as much as possible. Yeah. And you can only find that inside the camp. Now, these people that I'm trying to find my life with outside the camp, they have different lives. Right. They could be ex-murderers, or they could be, whoever, they're in the priesthood doing some other shit, Yeah. you just never know. Right. But once we're inside this camp, in this bubble, and we're doing music together, it's spiritual, it's gospel. Yeah. It's the unity is awesome. We gotta be unified together. We really have. It doesn't work any other way. The bands have a sound. Like your favorite bands have a certain sound, and it sounds great because they're doing it together.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's not consciously. I mean, I just kind of. You walk slow steps and you see that works, this works. Oh, this is kind of cool. I'm going to go more a little bit here. It may take me longer, I guess, but that's where I'm going to go because it's safer. I was no rush as a kid. Yes, I wanted to be respected and be good at what I do, but all that shit had to come in time.
How did you get that patience though? That is super unusual. And like we talked about before we were recording, right. We talked about, you had mentioned about being present.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the hard part as a young guy, because you have a lot of distractions around you. Even when you're young, there's all kinds of stuff. Looking cute. I got big old afro, looking cute with my velvet pants on, and you're pulling chicks. You're doing all right. Kinds of that you do when you're young Puerto Rican. Feisty. but you seem like you were really, like you just said something a minute ago. You said, I was in no rush to excel. You were like, right. Yeah, that's a very like being in the present. That's not a common thing for a and consciously, unconsciously, I didn't think that. but I was moving. It's like something was guiding me a certain way. And I had to say consciously, I was somewhere else, but my body was moving somewhere else. My mind was moving somewhere else, or it gets to a point where the parties or whatever was too much at a certain point. And you kind of realize, I'm really fucking up here. I mean, I really should be doing this and more of this and gathering more of this, whatever. Let me go do that. It just, you wake up and you kind of go, okay, I need to run this way. This crowd, I'm definitely not going to run because it's a lot of fun and I'm young and it's great, but it's not going to get me. It's not going to help me in the end because I'm just going to end up maybe, like them.
Yeah.
And some of those guys can carry that shit, crippled to the end and going, no, I don't need to hurt my body like that or my mind like that or be caught in that kind of shenanigans. So I always very conscious, try to be really conscious of my feelings, which is to me, again, looking for a team. And if I feel if I've done something inappropriate or wrong, whatever, that would put me out of a team. And I didn't want to be, I did not want to be out of a team. I want to be part of a team, of a family. And that's something I struggled for a long time because I had a really short family, a very small family.
Well, that's what I'm is so amazing about this. You said your dad wasn't around and your grandma raised you. And that's really impressive that you in those situations, most people don't have their shit together anywhere near like you did.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. But I had a strong grandmother. I had a really strong grandmother and she never forced shit on me. She was always there. She was always there for me. I mean, she even tested me one time. I'll never forget that. Once I realized that my aunt or my cousin was my mom, once they tried to put it in my head, they wanted me to move with them. They wanted me to go to Oklahoma, to travel with them to California. Early 60s. And I just looked at my grandmother. She didn't say anything. She just kind of kept real quiet. And I looked at her going, why would I want to move? Why? And so I look at her going, what are these questions? What are they trying? I didn't understand what they were trying to say or do. So I looked at her. She said nothing. She just stayed real quiet. I said, no, I want to stay with Ma.
Yeah.
And my mom knew that, you're not going to get me away from her. And my grandma's going to make sure that never happens. But she didn't have to say anything. I just kind of knew it.
Yeah, but that was so cool of her that she laid back like that. Because if you did, she was giving you the respect that she was giving you the respect to make your own, which is a very cool. It's almost like when parents get divorced. Right. Who do you want to live with? Everyone's really like, you really want to live with me, but. She didn't say anything. It was really cool.
No, but it was already confusing to find out that that's my mom.
Yeah.
But that's my mom. And I didn't even have to, when it was over with, when the dust cleared, she's still my mom.
Yeah.
My grandmother's still my mom.
Sure.
Eventually my mom ended up being to this day, my best bud. Okay. I mean, we hang tough. We can hang up all night, drinking, Bucero, Spanish coffee, watch TV all night, watch British. I got her hooked on British TV, detective stories.
That's great. BritBox. You watch BritBox?
Big time. I got her hooked up big time.
It's
Acorn.
Great.
I got her hooked up with all of stuff. And she said, "Did you see this one?" I said, "Yeah, I saw that one, Ma." I said, "Ma, they're about 10 years old." I said, "Okay." But to this day, we'll talk about all kinds of different subjects. Yeah, everything. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff and what's going on in the world here. And I said, "Ma, this is what's happening. This is what you should be listening to. Be careful of this information." So she'll ask me questions. She writes down all these questions, then we talk on the phone, and she'll go down the list.
That's cool. That's nice. Yeah. So it all worked out.
Yeah, and I'm actually really glad that I never went. That I didn't kind of get caught in the bullshit of what was going on. Because my grandma needed me more than anything else, and you needed her. And I needed her. Yeah, she already proven to be a solid rock, and subconsciously, why would I go somewhere else when I'm actually not thinking about it, that I'm comfortable. I'm a young kid. I don't, I'm not, I just know that this is where it feels right. So why would I want to go somewhere else? I don't know what it feels like over there. I know my feelings are here.
Yeah.
So that's as a young kid, those things would come up. But it was important.
You could tell you were very loved by her because you don't.
Oh yeah.
people that grow up in rougher environments, they're not thinking about their feelings. They're thinking about like survival. But you had that,
out of it.
Yeah, you had that, you had that nurturing. So you as you should be thinking about how do I feel? What's right for me? Which is great.
And she knew that too. She knew that too. And the building where we lived in, the apartment building, there was shit going on upstairs and downstairs with different families and friends of mine, and the shit that we're going through. I mean, it was so going. I look at my grandma going, well, she never beat me. She never even. Only once she came at me, my grandmother, because I came home late, and she had the right.
Right.
And I, I never. And she a tough woman. All she has to do is look. I'm going, okay, I'm cool. Never, or if I wanted to, like the rest of the kids, we wanted pro kids. All the Converses. And wow, it just came up, pro kids.
Back in the day. Yeah, I remember they came out.
Yeah. And so, I look at her and she said, we can't afford it. And I go, okay. Yeah. And then I see my other friends, Ralphie, and he'd be yelling at his mom for not hooking him up, and I just kind of like, why is he yelling at her? I didn't understand that, but it was a different relationship. But my grandma's going, can't afford it, can't afford it, And then she was surprised with something,
right?
Maybe not pro kids or something, some Korean shit or whatever. But it was cool, And I watched them all the time.
It was the love. She gave you love.
Yeah,
and that's what kids want, man. They don't. Yeah. You get.
We don't know that, but yeah.
Right, yeah. But yeah, that's really cool.
She was always very consistent. She never flounder in any situation, and there was never any reason for me to go at her. I mean, just because everyone looking hip and cool, I just my head just went like, okay,
Good for you. That's great, man.
Yeah, it was calm. It was a calm situation. Patience.
Well, that's why you
probably came out of that.
Yeah, and you're pretty calm. I don't know you, but I mean, you seem like you don't fly off the handle. I mean, I'm sure like everybody else, you get pissed, but like you seem pretty reasonable.
Oh yeah, but you have to really push me.
Right.
If you come at me, I'm gonna defend myself because it's a New York habit.
Of course.
So if you can talk to me quietly, it could be a major problem. But if you talk to me calmly, okay, we could take care of it. But if you come at me and you're accusing me of shit that I have nothing to do with, right, then I get the hairs will go up.
Yeah.
And I will defend myself. And it's like that's why I was never raised with a dad, because my grandma never spoke to me like that. But when my stepdad would go at me, I would go physically at him because I'm not used to somebody coming at me. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, of course.
I got thrown through a couple of walls because of that. But that's I guess that's what dads do. But I don't dig it. Either you talk to me like a regular person. Don't talk down to me. I'm not cool with that kind of stuff.
No,
I don't care who you are. I don't care how much education you have. It's just you either talk to me like calmly, like my grandmother would do. So
right on.
She was something else. She was always will be a treasure.
That's awesome.
Actually, I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna bring it to you. This is her looking out the window.
Oh man, what a great picture. No, I see it. That's really cool.
Is it? Yeah.
That was taken in Brooklyn?
Yeah. At the apartment on 5th Avenue, 5th Street.
That's
Park Slope.
That's cool, man.
I keep it there always, she's still watching my back.
I like that. It's cute. It's a cute picture, man. Very cool. Go back to Baby Grand. So I had Eric on the show here. He obviously Eric Bazillion. Listening. The Hooters.
Yes.
Was like that right after Baby Grand or?
No, Baby Grand was first. Baby Grand was first. And then Hooters.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And see, because Baby Grand was first, and then we left for Europe with Nona Hendryx to support Peter Gabriel on his first tour, on his first solo tour, because he left Genesis. And actually, no, after Nona Hendryx, then I joined Baby Grand. And then the Hooters came later, like at 79 or 80 or whatever. But yeah, we worked on the Ancient Medicine, which is a great cover. There's a cover on it, which is fantastic. It's all vegetables.
I have to check
it's beautiful. It's a stunning cover. And if you find the cover, look at the back of it. and you see a picture of all of us, a full picture of us with the fro and everything. You'll love it. Out. Ancient Medicine.
I actually have it here because Eric sent it to me after our interview, so I'm just pulling.
Oh, and listen to all the stuff on there, because that was really interesting how we had to work out parts or whatever. And I was using my prog head, my Latin groove R&B prog head, playing with a pick or fingers or whatever, alternating.
How did you get in Nektar, man? That's like they're not even in this country.
No, they just moved. They were playing America at 75, 76. And then they moved to Jersey, a lot of them, because they had found girlfriends and wives.
Okay.
And it would have to be 79, 80. Dave Prater was the drummer with Baby Grand.
Yeah.
And was the drummer with Nona Hendryx. Him and I were like a partner, drum bass team. He got the phone call somehow from someone out in Jersey somewhere, near the House of Music or something. And Paul Higgins, who was a engineer with Nektar, who worked with Nektar for a long time. And they were working on a brand new solo album by Roy Albright, who was the main singer. And their keyboard player, Taft Friedman, I can't believe it. I'm terrible with names, but I remember his name, Taft Friedman, keyboard player with Nektar. There were the two original guys because the drummer and bass player left. So Dave and I were the replacement. So we worked on an album, Man on the Moon. And then when that album was complete, we went to Germany to tour, and I ended up staying, living for 2 years, 2.5 years.
What was that like?
That was great. That was just another, I needed another opening. I didn't want to be a typical, I didn't want to get lost in the shuffle because there's so many great bass players in America. But Europe really likes American players.
Yeah. And
I knew that, by playing with the English guys. And I just thought there might be a possible work because they like American players. So here I am. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go fly me over. I live right down the street. I live in Frankfurt, right outside of Frankfurt. And I got a lot of work out of it. Playing different, my approach was different from the German guys.
Oh, hell yeah.
So they liked the approach. Yeah. So they were always trying to get that kind of an American approach to bass lines. And I was the guy, in Frankfurt at the moment. And there were some great players, and I got into, and there it opened my head up to craft work, different from Prague. It was like electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, what is that? Band called Japan. I mean, it was like really pretty cool stuff. I said, oh, and the radio was different. What was going on at the time, Ultravox. There were all these different things going on, which I never heard in America, because it's like a whole nother thing over there. There's bands playing for years that you will never see in the States. So I got to see a lot of stuff. And I would go back and forth from Germany to England, back and forth with Roy, traveling, doing different things, and meeting different people, and develop a pick technique, playing with a pick. And because I wanted to find out how you do that crunchy sound. And what is that? Who's playing what? What is that note? What is I was always very curious, and I will always be very curious about sounds and tones and parts, and how you interpret a part inside of a song. But there were a lot of great bands, 80, 81 bands. Like there was like flooding all these English bands, especially like for me, it was like living in Germany. It would have been Ultravox and Kraftwerk. Yeah. A band from England called Japan, which had a great bass player, Mick Carnes, awesome bass player. Very Bowie-ish kind of a lead singer, David Sylvain. Everything was, and funny because everything was very Bowie-ish. I didn't realize how much influence these little young bands, and then you go to the source going, why do they sound like David Bowie?
That's funny.
And watching all this stuff go on. And I was already a fan of David anyway. 76, 78, looking at and 74. I got to see in Philly the Diamond Dogs tour, and the White Light tour, and Station to Station. I got to see all those tours at the Spectrum in Philly.
How did that come up? How did you get connected with Bowie? How did that? I'm sorry. I know you've been asked that a bunch of times too.
Oh, it's okay. That was actually I think he was in town looking at different bands because he wanted to do an album. It's January '83, so this was December. He was in town. In
town in New York or over in
New York? Yeah, okay. In New York. And he was this guy. I was back now after Europe. I went back to New York in '82.
Okay.
Late '82. I went back to New York and rejoined Nona Hendryx. So at that time, with Nona Hendryx, we were opening up for Talking Heads, and we were doing a lot of different. You know, she was like
that's pretty cool
thing in the neighborhood. Yeah, and she was every band. Everyone knew that if you were Nona's band, everyone was going to see it. So Nona and I, since we had a relationship with Labelle and her first solo album, we always kept in touch. And I would do anything for her, for the girls, at any time, any day. If she ever, whenever she calls, I'm there for her, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And then I joined back, and she had a great band, Ronnie Drayton on guitar.
I was going to say, was Ronnie in there? Man, I had him on the show right before he passed. Holy shit.
Ronnie was there, because I knew Ronnie from the 70s.
Right, I'm sure.
He was one of the few guys that got out of the neighborhood, like I did.
Yeah.
And we were the few guys that would see each other at the Fillmore or Schaefer festivals.
Right.
And Vernon Reed was another one too. There was all these guys. Growing up, we knew each other. We didn't really know each other. We knew, hey, what's that? And that's how we were always at the same kind of gigs. Hendrix,
That's cool.
Rhinoceros, a lot of great gigs. So Nile Rodgers gave me a call on a Friday. Nile Rodgers' office actually gave me a call. And I knew Niles and Bernard because of Tony Thompson.
Okay.
From Sheep days. So I knew those guys. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll come, where are we doing at the power station? I said, yeah, I'll come and do a demo, whatever. I never mentioned who it was for.
I was just going to ask you, so you didn't know. Okay, no, yeah.
It was a secret. I didn't know. So that Monday morning, over the weekend, I show up and walk into a room because I'm not sure where I got to go. So I look in to my left, and there's three guys there. There's a guy with a hat, blondish hair guy with a hat. I guess the other two were engineers. And I looked, and I said, maybe not this room. So I walked out. Out comes this younger guy, who I knew was an engineer, going, hey, Carmine Rojas. I said, yeah. So you're in this room. I said, okay, cool. So I walk in, and before I walk into the room, I go to him going, who's that big old David Bowie looking motherfucker, goofing around. Total goof, no exaggeration. Because he did look, he had a kind of a side profile, but he had a hat on.
That's so funny.
And he looked, he goes, that's David Bowie. And I looked at him going, yeah, good, nice one. And he was serious. So as we walk in, I looked to my left again because there's a glass here. I forget the name of the room. And it's him. He turned around. And I went, holy shit. I said, what's he doing here? What's going on? I said, I'm a big fan going, what's he doing here? I said, we're working on a project. I said, we? I said, yeah, we could, doing some demos and stuff. We are? So I'm completely.
So the dime didn't drop yet that you're there for.
I'm thinking maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm just going to sit on the side and, maybe the real guy's not going to show up like Will Lee or Neil Jason or somebody, And I'm thinking, oh, what the fuck? I said, okay. So I walk into the control room. He turns around. So, I've told the story before. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to shake his hand or curtsy or,
sure.
Or stand back. I wasn't sure because in my head, I'm seeing station to station and watching the songs at the Spectrum in Philly, watching the show, being like blown away, going, wow, this is so different. You got an R&B band with David Bowie going, what the hell's going to get a Puerto Rican guy on guitar and a black rhythm section? I said, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And so my head is spinning. So he walks up towards me and puts his hand out. So again, I'm still not sure. So I'm kind of reluctant, and I shake his hand and say, hey, welcome. He says, welcome. Well, Tommy, welcome to the, but he said, welcome to the project, I guess, something. But I was still bewildered because I can see his eyes. He's right here. Yeah. And he's, a handsome, beautiful looking guy. I'm thinking, man, if I was a girl, I'd give him one, Cutie pie with the hair on.
Here, folks.
If I was a girl, I'd give him one.
That's so funny.
And then,
well, you're probably like still
stunned.
Like stunned. Yeah.
I'm still.
That's not what you're expecting.
I don't know. And I have a million questions and I'm looking for Niles. I was like,
did you know Carlos at the time?
No. But I was a big fan. No, I was a big fan.
Okay.
And then enters the room Omar Hakim.
Okay.
we both work with all the time with Labelle and Nona and all that kind of stuff, and local projects. He goes, I said, yeah. He said, David Bowie. I said, and Omar goes, what's he doing here? The same.
So he's the same as
Whisper.
That's great.
Yeah, we were in the dark with the whole thing, basically, and then the rest is, it goes into a whole other realm of story, but that's the rest is history. We were not told what was actually going to go down, and then I was only there for one song.
Oh, so that you must have not felt good about that either, I'm sure.
Well, no, I was fucking happy to be there. I didn't even care if I was getting paid or not. I wasn't even sure whether I was going to get paid or not. Yeah. I was just there, and whatever they wanted, I was going to, maybe I was waiting. Again, I thought I was there for, for Will Lee or Neil Jason or whoever else was in town, or his bass player would come in, or George Murray, and it wasn't happening like that. I was the guy with Omar to do the part. So we worked on 2 songs, and at the end of the day, I went like, okay, shit, I hope they keep that stuff, or maybe one, or maybe part of one. But at least I got the experience to sit here and watch him work and watch Nile work, because I've never seen, I've known him now for years, but never saw him work.
Okay.
And it was really great. It was great to see Nile. And then the most amazing engineer, Bob Clement, behind the board. So it was like, wow, this, so to me, it was, if nothing comes out of it, it was an experience that I'll take with me the rest of my life, which I have.
Right.
And, but then after every session, David would go, can you come back tomorrow? And I look at Niles and go, it's just cool, and Niles goes, yeah, come back tomorrow. And that happened every day. So I wasn't sure what was going on, going, okay, so it was Monday and Tuesday and then Wednesday and then Thursday. At the end of the session, I was told you won't be needed. You don't have to come in tomorrow, the Friday. I said, cool. I said, and in my head, I'm thinking, I hope some of the stuff is going to be used,
sure.
And if not, I'm just being grateful that I was out here, because I'm still pinching myself then. And then, things got really friendly with David, and, he just, the big old smile, and I'm going, wow, cool. And I just kind of walk out going, what a nice guy, what a regular guy, really easy to work with. He just knew what he wanted. It was just, and then Friday afternoon, I get a phone call to come back.
For Monday?
No, for Friday, because Friday was the day off.
Okay, so Friday afternoon, they want you coming in even.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to come in Friday, but I got called late to come in and do an overdub.
Okay.
I said, okay. So I came in, and the last song was Criminal World.
Okay.
And I didn't want to hear what the bass player did, whoever he was. Who's playing drums? Tony Thompson. I know the way Tony plays. And I got to hear the track. It was a cover song of some other band, which I never heard before, an English band. So I just hear the way Tony's playing. So I adapted like a new bass line to the song, like a lead line.
Yeah. And
Claremont hooked me up. Big old great sound with a pick. And you can listen to Criminal World. And it just, the part works so well that when Nile came in to listen to it, he said, shit, I'm gonna have to alter some of the parts because I like what you did on it. And I went, you sure? I said, was it too much? He said, no, this is cool. We can open it up even more. And that's what they did. They kept the original drums. I put a new bass line on it, and they kept the keys on it because I needed a quarter-wise, and kept David's vocal on it. So so I had something to follow. And in the overdub later on, which I didn't know, was a guitar solo from Stevie Ray, because I didn't see him cut that one. And it was Criminal. When we listen to it, the bass, it's a great bass line, which, following me and Tony Thompson, just kind of grooving what I thought would work for the song. It did. It actually worked. It ended up working great. It took out all the rest of the parts and just left more space into it. Gave it more space.
And so at what point did he say, okay, like, do you want to come tour with us, or like, what was
that happened? That happened later. When I left that Friday, I just said, hey, if you ever go back out again and you need a second bass player or something, or a backup, whatever, let me know. Now, I would never do that. A guy at that level. I just, for somehow, it just kind of came out, because after spending so many days with him and having lunch with him or whatever, with the gang, I thought it was comfortable enough for me to do that, but I wasn't sure, but I did it anyway. Good. Because sometimes you just have to do it. And didn't think about it. I said, thanks, here's my, my grandma's number, in Brooklyn. And they went and split, and then went on tour with a band called Driving School. And we were in Texas a month later. A month later, we was Texas, and I heard Let's Dance on the radio. And I'm thinking, wow, holy crap. They doubled the bass line with a Moog bass. I said, okay. I said, and then you hear this Albert King Hendrixy guitar going against the track going, wow, only he could hear this shit, you know? And I went, wow, that's a big ass song. I mean, it's like, it just came out the radio blasting at you. Natural with the big drums. And I went, holy
Well, that was
crap.
a great bass line that you came up with.
And it was, like I said, originally it was a smaller bass line that Nile, I guess, came up with. But I heard other notes because it stayed in B flat. It didn't go anywhere. So I heard the F sharp, and I heard the 4-chord change before the F sharp, and then they had the 1-4-5, like old blues changes, but the line was more like a big like a gap band, you know, big stomp, boom, 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 dun, 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 dun. And that's how me and Omar interpreted it, because we were into the gap band at that time. It was the 80s. And that's kind of what we heard, and it kind of fit the track. But we didn't hear it with horns. It was really naked when we cut the track. So we were, you know, I was afraid to overplay anything or underplay. I wasn't sure what they wanted. And whatever mistakes were on there, David liked it. He liked the mistakes because he could sing with the mistakes. He knew how to edit all that kind of stuff out or keep it. Yeah, he was great with that kind of stuff. If you fluff something, sometimes that fluff will make you go a different place vocally. Right. And he knew how to deal with that. He knew how to interpret the mistakes, and so it's unexpected. So he was clever little bastard.
So you're out in Texas and you heard the song. When did they
heard on the radio? And then I get a call from that Texas. I get a call. It has to be a few days later. Someone looking for me at the hotel. I said, okay, what's happening? What you need? Who is it? It's like grandma. So I call. Yeah. So I get the phone message, and the number's a New York number. I don't know who it is. So I call back, and it's Carlos. I hear his voice going, oh, shit. I said, who's this? He said, Carlos Alama. He said, hey, you got a second? I said, yeah. I'm thinking, why is he calling me? Because he wasn't involved with the album at all. Right. So I wouldn't know the relationship. So it was like out of the blue. So I said, hey, we're doing auditions in New York, and David wants you to come in. I said, okay, send me the songs. I said, when? First, you know, like it was like in a week and a half or whatever. And I was going to be home already in 2 days. Okay. I said, okay, just send me a list of songs or whatever. I'll call you when I get to the city. He said, what list of songs? I said, well, songs that you want me to audition. He said, no, you got the gig. He wants you to be the bass player. I said, what? I said, really? I said, yeah, he's changing the whole band. He's not using Murray or Dennis Davis. And I went, it kind of broke my heart because I love those guys. I said, well, okay. When's the rehearsal? He says, next week. I said, what? I said, oh, crap. I said, okay, I'll be in 2 days. He said, don't worry about the songs. So I called him when I got in, and when I hung up, I went, what the fuck is going on? I said, wow, this is Carlos Alamo, who I'm a big fan of, going, wow, another Puerto Rican. This is special.
Yeah, know? Man.
I looked up to him as a brother.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, another Bronx boy.
Yeah.
Bronx boy.
I had him on here. We had the whole yeah.
Yeah. He's the brother I never had, and he'll always will be my older brother. He's special.
Incredibly smart and quick. I've never met anybody as quick-witted as that guy, man.
No, he's always been like that. I think he came out of the womb like that.
He's so quick-witted, man.
He's quick-witted, and he's just smart. He's just one of the best musical directors I've ever been around, and I learned so much from him. And he threw on me so much stuff too, to adapt for future gigs or whatever, if we're not playing together or something. But it was a great schooling that I would never learn anywhere unless you're in battle, and you can only get that kind of schooling if you're in battle together. Right. And it was, soldier, and it was quite a beautiful relationship. Look again for tribal, looking for a team. Yeah. And it was just so much material and so much. The catalog was embracing, and I was like, it was just the perfect gig in my head because I was ready for it. I never realized, but I was ready to do these little gigs. We were doing we were supposed to be doing theaters, whatever, but the song blew out of the house so big Yeah, we went straight to stadiums.
Let's Dance, you mean?
Yeah, it just blew out the door, and they had to, in the midst of the middle of the rehearsal, they had to change productions and everything, and we had to end up all leave to Europe, going, okay, what's going on, you know? And we started touring Europe and stayed there for months.
And who was the drummer on that tour?
Tony Thompson.
Oh, it's Tony Thompson.
Right. Yeah, because he played on the album too. Tony and Omar was both only two drummers on the album, and myself played bass, and Bernard Edwards played bass. I did all the tracks, and he did one track. Yeah, it was cool because we were kids, and you know, we were the team with Labelle, and again, we have all that history of the '70s with us together growing up, you know, and moving in these circles. There are maybe not for us, but we're still moving in them, you know.
Well, the thing is, man, guys that grow up in places like where you and I grew up, that doesn't happen. And Carlos and all the other people in there. That's like a movie. You watch it in the movie.
Right.
It's not a common thing. You know, all the people that grew up in your building.
Yeah.
Probably.
I have to realize that. I never realized that till later.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, because even though we know the guys who the A team were doing the sessions in New York, or they were out with everybody, with Paul Simon and everything else, going, wow, I wonder if it's possible if I could be that one guy or whatever. And some of those guys are excellent readers, or they're from Berkeley or whatever. And we're not those guys. You know, some of us, we learned how we learn, and then we do what we do, walking slow, make sure we don't step on shit on the way.
Yeah.
But you have to step on shit, and you make the mistakes. And from the mistakes, you learn. Without the mistakes, you won't get anywhere. You got to make the mistakes. You got to fall hard. You got to get back up on that horse and keep moving. But yeah, we were those guys, those upcoming kids, you know. Yeah, it was an interesting time in New York, because we were getting invaded by all the English guys, from Stevie Winwood, Mick Jagger, Ronnie Wood, Keith Richards. We were getting invaded by what's the name, the guy from Avalon? I don't know why. Brian Ferry. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and it's like, wow, it's like, you know.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned Neil Jason played on that, right? That's great.
Yeah. There were these guys were coming to New York because they wanted to play with New York players, and Power Station was a big deal, and Nile Rodgers was big with Chic, and you know, there was a big movement going on in early '80s, mid '80s of sound and music, you know, in the world. And David's album was kind of like, oh yeah, we could do that, you know,
it's
like
a gateway drug.
Yeah, you know, In Excess and those kind of bands, Duran Duran, it was like, yeah, and they were all finding their place in this system of this new order. Yeah, you know, for the 80s, and we were all caught in that traffic, in that windstorm together, which is quite amazing.
Let me, if you're comfortable, Carmine, and if you're not totally cool, what happened with, like, what made you move on, or did he just change bands again?
He was always changing bands. He was always changing different locations. After '83. Well, we're still working for him. I'm still doing, you know, he would call and say, hey, I need you for this project. Do you have time to, you know, come do a session? I said, yeah, sure. I said, what time in New York? He said, no, I'm not in New York. I said, okay, what coat do I have to wear, or bathing suit? Where am I going? You know, either Compass Point or Montreal, because you never know. So you have to kind of be ready. And it's like a drop of, you know, he's like, I need you for this. It's okay. So.
And he just fly out there.
Yeah, we did the second album, Tonight album, which is great. We're Loving the Alien on it. And The Glass Spider was done in Switzerland, and I did what was left of it in New York. But we still kept in touch, and we still played together. We still did different things. 83 was that. 84 was John Waite. I did the John Waite tour. We were promoting No Breaks. And then Julian Lennon, musical director, and putting that together, you know, and for 85, 86, and 87 came the Glass Spider tour.
I bet you like.
And then after that, sorry.
No, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry. I'll say afterwards. Glass Spider tour.
Yeah, it was 87. Yeah, but in between all that stuff, I was doing a lot of work, doing different sessions for Phil Ramone, different producers for different things. A lot of English bands would come in. I would play bass. They wanted like the Bowie rhythm section with Errol Slick and myself, or Tony Thompson. Because of that, people, you know, wanted us at the rhythm section to get that sound, but it's not the same. You got to write songs like that. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, there's only a few people that actually can coin, but you can't do a David if you're not David.
Yeah,
it's just common sense.
Was that? Did you play with Eddie on some of those sessions? Because I think he did some Phil Ramone stuff.
I did, yeah. Actually, with he knew a lot of us. So Eddie and I think our first recordings would have been with Labelle in San Francisco on the Chameleon album. I think that's the first time we recorded together. We've done different things for different people. We did a Foreign Affair with Tina Turner together. And just, God, see, when you bring up that name, I just have to laugh. It's a Malanga brother, because he is my right arm, you know. Sorry.
I tell you what,
he's blood. He's just one of those
lovely special.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, every time I talk to him, I tell him this, he's one of the brightest, intellectually brightest people I've ever talked to, man. I always,
another one.
I write down words when I'm talking to him. I got to go look him up.
Yeah. No, he's another one. He had great, him and Carlos ended up, he's graduating. I never graduated out of high school, but those guys obviously graduated.
Yeah.
But what I love to be in the same team with those guys, you know, it's very organic, very natural. And you just kind of go, okay, we're going to move here. And then, you know, as we're doing parts or whatever, playing, you can sense the body looking, and, you know, it's like a dance. And it's a beautiful dance that we have all together. And again, I guess it's rooted in our upbringing, but again, it's, to me, I'm really proud to be in that camp with Eddie, Carlos, and any other porter, Jose Rossi. You know, when there's a real kinship when you have Boricuas, doing this stuff together, and the versatility of these Eddie and Carlos, it's mind blowing. These guys do orchestrations in their fucking in their heads, going, how do you get there? And so I'm like looking, I'm gonna jump in right now, like doing the double dutch. That's me jumping in the right place with those guys, double dutching, and then coming up with my own stuff on top of it. So, you know, I can't just, you know, let them have all the glory. I got to jump in and find something so I can glue it together with them. So I feel, you know, on the same level. And it's great. Even if you're not on the same level, it's just so cool to be there in the same room.
The admiration is mutual with these guys and you.
It's beyond. It's just, you know, it's just when he called to do his solo album, I said, "Why are you calling? Where are you? Where am I? What's the room?"
You mean Eddie's solo album?
Which room were you in? Yeah,
Eddie,
which came out beautiful.
Let me just tell people. So the Eddie we've been talking about is Eddie Martinez. He's a long-term buddy of both Carlos and Carmine, but he was on this show a long time ago. That's where we met initially, and we stay in touch. But his album that came out is called Akosua. It's how do you?
Akosua, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Just look up Eddie Martinez wherever you listen. It's one of the best albums, and he's so talented, man. I couldn't believe he sings like that.
Yeah, he's always been a singer.
He's got a great voice.
Yeah,
man.
And originally I think it was supposed to be Bernard Fowler was supposed to be doing the vocals, but we just couldn't work out our schedules. So he sang already on the demos. He just said, "Fuck it, I'll just do it." And he did a great job on it.
I want to get Akosua, Akosua. It's a beautiful, it's a great record, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful album. It's just really, it's eclectic. It's musical. It's Eddie. It really is Eddie in his head and how he dreams at night. You know, it's part of how he dreams. And it's beautiful to be swimming in his dream like that. You know, I love it.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Leslie West. What did you do with Leslie? This guy is like one of my all-time favorite players.
I was already a Mountain fan from back in, you know, Fillmore days. You know, Nantucket Sled Ride and Mississippi Queen and all that kind of stuff. And I was already a big fan of the bass player. Felix
Pappalardi.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because
of the production he did with Cream. Yeah, he produced the Cream albums, and I just thought he did a great job on that, not knowing that he actually was a bass player too. So, when they got together, and I forgot where I saw them. It wasn't in Fillmore; it was somewhere else. And this thing was so big sounding, I could have got a nosebleed. It was so huge with Courtney Lang, and this is actually this is when they got the Knight, the keyboard player, so it even sounded better. With Knight, because he would cover all he'll be the blanket of all of it, and it was just Nantucket Sled Ride killed me.
That's such a great song.
you know, everything from that album and the one before, I forget the name of the album before, but those kind of songs, again, prog, very progressive. You know, yes, it was blues rock, but it was progressive blues rock. And it was just like listening to Leslie do his little guitar stuff against it, going, wow. I said, that's actually really, really very cool. And it was just dynamic. And it's like really just a very unique. Mountain at that point in time were very unique to me. And I was a big fan of Leslie West, obviously. So Leslie called up to do years later, after Felix has passed away, to do a benefit for something at the Cat Club in Manhattan many years ago. And so at the time we were playing with John Waite or Julian Lennon, one of the two. It was either 84 or 85. And he says, hey, I need, you know, I got to put a band together. You know, he's like a real, you know, New York, Jersey kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so it was Alan Chalice, myself, Tommy Mandel, and the four of us made all this noise. And there was a point where I kind of said, you know, can we do what's that beautiful song that Felix is saying?
Theme for an Imaginary Western.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite all-time songs.
It's a gorgeous, gorgeous song. And he said, I don't sing it. Felix used to sing it. I said, come on, we got to find a way to do it, or grab a singer or whatever. He sings it in his head. So we did it that night.
And he sang it.
He sang it.
Yeah.
And me and Alan, we looked at him, and he went to do a solo lick, and he looked up to the ceiling because he was doing impressions or whatever. And he did this lick, and he hit this one note, which feedback, and he looked up, and Alan and I went, we looked at someone has a photograph of us looking up to the sky.
The three of you guys looking up the sky. That's cool.
And it was a majestic note going, wow, he's like phoning it in or something. Yeah. It was fucking hilarious. And someone had a photograph. I wish I would have kept the photograph. The three of us look, you know, the four of us, you know, the three of us, yeah. And it was, and then we did a show at the Cat Club for this benefit concert, and then we did a Howard Stern birthday party at some restaurant, famous restaurant, Tavern on the Green or something in Central Park.
Yeah.
Which is a Howard Stern birthday party. He had it like 6 a.m. You know, so we had to hang at the China Club, and then we slowly mosey over there. You know, we stayed out all night at the China Club. Yeah,
that was.
But Leslie, the sound, right? And he had a one pedal. What's his name from the band called band from Boston?
Tom Schultz.
He had the pedal.
The Rock Man, I think it was called.
Yes, and that's what Leslie used. He plugged in that straight into the DI into the house system, and that's what he used. It was fucking humongous. The solo or whatever.
Guy was great. Guy was phenomenal. He was just
it's
such
a tone
beast.
and touch.
Yeah,
he was a beast. Yeah, and it's just a tone and touch, and it was just like like a dream come true for me, you know. And next to the gear and watching him do those notes in those songs and go, oh, this is fucking classic. I love it.
My older son, when he was being delivered, I had a box, you know, a box, you know, like
a beatbox,
a radio, the cassette player, and I had all these songs, and that one came on when my older son was born. Theme for an Imaginary Western. So oftentimes when he comes over to the house, I'll put it on, and it's just
that's a really classic. That's a beautiful, not typical, but it's a gorgeous rock anthem.
It's beautiful, man. Everything about that song is
I know,
perfect.
And the chord changes, the emotion in the vocals, the way the Jacks would sing it, and Felix. I mean, but Jack Bruce had a great vocal behind it too, and it's like almost slightly different versions, but it was the same version to me.
Jack Bruce, one of the greatest vocalists to me, and one of the best singers ever, man.
Yeah, it was very organic, very real. Yeah. And you either had to be a fan or not be a fan, you know, of his playing ability. It was just Jack. That's just the way he was, and you appreciate that's the way he was.
Yeah,
you know, it wasn't a jock. It's nothing to do with it. Jack was Jack.
Yeah,
there's a true organic Jack Bruce. That's who he was, you know, and you had to go, I'm a big fan. And, you know, watching Cream as a kid too, they were doing their last tour at the Garden. And, you know, if you were in the front, you can't hear anything. So you stand in front of Eric, you hear Eric. You stand in front of the drums, you can hear the drums. Or you go to Jack, you can hear Jack. Because the piano was terrible back then.
Yeah.
Especially the garden. It's like, you go to the front, but you can really, it's just noise.
Yeah.
Till years later, they perfected the sound systems and wedges and monitors. Yeah, you have to think about that. Like the Beatles had no wedges, and they were still in pitch. They were still singing pitch. If you listen to the stuff now, like live in Germany somewhere, or in Hamburg or something, or in Munich, and they still sang those complicated parts in pitch.
How did they do this? That was just like
old school, because they spend so much time drilling themselves in clubs and playing 1,000 clubs, and playing all those little small venues and homing in on shitty wedges and shitty PA system that they could cue in on their vocal harmonies. And it was complicated. It wasn't easy.
So they just locked. It was literally just locked in.
They're just locked in.
Okay.
And they just knew. I mean, if Ringo's back there, he can't hear what's going on either. So he's just back there playing and watching the feet, or watch body movement most of the time, because there's no wedges.
Yeah.
And they were just dead on. I mean, that kind of schooling, you can't, you're never going to get this from the young ones. You're never going to get that, because it's you're thrown in the deep end, and you got to come out of it, unscathed.
Yeah.
A lot of scars.
Talk about Carmine, Rod Stewart. How did you get that gig? Because you were with him for quite some time. That
would have been auditioning. They were in California. We were in New York. Tony Thompson was one who called. That was 88. That was after they.
Dude, you guys had the network.
We were very fortunate because people still want to use this for this and whatever. And we kept in touch with a lot of people and had friendship with management companies and public relation people. So we knew a lot. We kept more in touch with them than we did with musicians, friends. We knew a lot. We knew enough of those. But we kept in touch with management who we get a phone call like doing a session for someone for free, but the management company managed real bands that we could get paid for if we do their records. So you barter in certain situations, and in a certain relationship, you had to barter at some point in time, and it was okay because it was a progression, and you knew the people you trusted, the people around you, going, "Sure, I'll do that. Don't worry about it, and we'll take care of that for next month. I'll do the project."
You had it wasn't like you knew they weren't trying to get over on you. It was just
no.
It was a genuine like, hey, this is how we work together.
Yeah. And I knew them from New York, and I trusted New York. I never trusted the California guys. I trusted the New York guys.
Now you're in LA, so go explain that.
Yeah, and the phone call came in from Tony Thompson, New Yorker. So they hooked us up to come out with Jeff Golub on guitar.
Oh.
Actually, before Jeff Golub would have been Eddie Martinez. It was Eddie, myself, Tony Thompson, Chuck Hentis, and we had different rhythm sections, and we kept,
was Cregan not in the band then?
No. He got rid of the English guys for the moment and wanted an American band, so it could sound like real Americana. But we had to make sure we had some English roots in this.
Okay.
English possibilities, sound wise. So, but he wanted the R&B, the sax, and the American guys can pull that shit off better than most.
Okay.
At that point in time, except for Average White Band, they were really good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They were good. Average White Band. He wanted like a real authentic American Stax, Motown kind of a thing, and make sure that we could do stuff acoustically, like Maggie May and stuff like that. We could cover those kind of things. And Tony Thompson was a drummer. He was a musical director, actually. And then stuff happened where I ended up being a musical director. Tony left, Eddie left, and then we got Jeff Golub in as guitarist. Okay. And and then when Tony left, they got Tony Brock in, the original drummer from the Babies. Okay. And original drummer from Rod Stewart, which was a perfect thing to do because he knew the songs. Right. So it was less time rehearsing, and then we had these 3 festivals to do. The 3 festivals were in South America, Miami, and some other place, and they put the tour in the black. Those 3 festivals that helped pay for a lot of stuff, and we got through. That's cool. I think there's a movie about 2 years. Jeff Golub now. I think I saw something that there's a movie, a documentary on Jeff Golub. I think so. I hope so, because he's very, very, very special. Another guy who you just never know what you're going to get out of him. And when he gives it to you, you go, "Wow, that's pretty." You just don't know. He's just Berkeley student, but didn't play like one, didn't act like one. just a really natural, loving, caring guitar player, and a great hang.
You must know this guy, John McCurry.
Yeah, I know John. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it on John's. Well. Yeah, I saw it on
John.
Social
John
media.
Jeff introduced me to John McCurry.
Right. Okay.
So we were helping John to come into the scene with Phil Ramone, because it was the early days. So John was just getting around doing sessions. So we call him in to do Julian Lennon, do this or whatever,
right?
Or whatever we couldn't do.
Julian. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to come in to cover for the stuff that we couldn't do, and that's how we got into a relationship.
That's cool.
John McCurry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another great guitar player.
Yeah. Real good guy too. With Rod, again, only if you're comfortable talking about it. I read an interview where you mentioned that some of his entourage gave you a bit of a hard time. Again, only if you're comfortable. If not, we can skip it. What was that all about?
I think that was more. I think that was. It wasn't. I don't think it was about me. It was about Steve Salas, probably.
Oh. Okay. We can skip.
It was probably about him, because we gave him so much shit. I mean, it was. We were all coming from New York. He was coming from LA. It wasn't on the same level. The management wanted him to be part of the Rod Stewart band. We said, no, you have to be respectful of the stuff. You know, the Jeff Beck group, all these songs, Small Faces, Rod's solo album. You know, you can't just walk in here with pleather pants. You know, think you're from Guns N' Roses and expect to fucking get through the gig. It doesn't work like that. You got to work at it. You got to build into it, like we have. But we gave him so much. Oh, so we put him through. But it was good because he needed that. So he had a real hard time getting through. There's a lot of great stories about it, but he ended up being a proper guitar player, a proper producer. He ended up growing and seeing what was respectful. He saw what we were trying to do. You know, we weren't trashing him to throw him out, but we were showing him that you got to do the work.
Yeah, man.
And he got that. He got that, and he ended up being a great producer, a writer, and different things. And I still work with him. You know,
that's good. Bobby Womack. What that? Do you remember that song, 110th Street?
Yeah, 10th Street. Yeah, that's a great song. Yeah, that's because I was a big fan from Sam and Dave and Bobby Womack. Wow, that was done in Los Angeles, and it was funny because it was Slim Jim Phantom who was producing the track, because he had this label going on with Japan or something, and I went in to do bass or whatever, and I could hear his voice coming from the other room, and it was just, he had that certain voice and that certain song going, wow, that's the real deal, you know. Yeah. Those guys when that's schooling, and he wrote some great songs, and I got called in to do a session, to do 3 songs on this solo project that he had out. I don't know whatever happened to that project. I have to ask Slim Jim that one time.
Odd that Slim Jim Phantom was producing Bobby Womack. That's not
somehow they were friends. Somehow there was a connection.
Okay.
And he was there running the ship on the album. He was running the outfit in the room. He was the one that's doing control. Okay, we need to do this. We need to do that. Going, cool. You know, all East Coast buddies. You know.
And Joe Bonamassa, you've done a lot of stuff with Joe. How did that come about?
Yeah. I think I got a phone call there was a phone call put in through Kevin Shirley, the producer, because he just got a hold of Joe to do something different with him. So he got together with Jason Bonham, myself, Rick Malik on keyboards, and I think the word was that I was available. And in my building where I lived in Los Angeles, Jason's mom lived there, John Bonham's wife. So Jason lived in the building, so we all used to hang out together and play and jam together. And somehow the word was out that I was available. So Kevin Shirley says, "Yeah, if we could grab him, if it's not going to be outrageous or price-wise." And I wasn't at that point in time. It was just I was kind of searching, looking for something different to do. And to play with Jason was always going to be great.
I don't know why he gets a lot of shit. I think he's a great drummer.
He is a great drummer, but you know, again, people say he sounds like his dad or whatever.
His dad was a great drummer.
Jason, yeah, amazing drummer, exactly.
like if why would, if you got to sound like John Bonham, that ain't like the worst thing.
I don't think, yeah, exactly. But I don't think nobody ever took the time to know him, because this guy, he knows music out of his ass. He knows all kinds of bands. He sings, he writes, he plays different instruments. He's a capable writer. I mean, the guy was, the whole family's very musical. His aunt, John Bonham's sister, Debbie Bonham, it has a great blues band back home in England. The sister, Jason's sister, they're all very talented. They're all involved very much in the music, and they're all separately very talented. So they come from a great gene pool, which is sometimes not always like that.
Yeah.
They came from a great and awesome gene pool. I mean, I don't know what their grandparents did, great grandparents, but these guys had it.
Yeah.
Their family really very musical. Did you ever see him live?
Only on the Zeppelin thing, but I thought he was great. I mean,
he's live. It was like cannons.
It's phenomenal. I
saw him in Germany, probably the last tour, and I could see him. We were backstage, and I could see him yelling at some. I always remember this. I could see him yelling at somebody, yelling cannons. I said, "What's he fucking yelling cannons?" And he had his own PA system, and he just, I guess, yelling cannons mean put it louder.
Okay.
And so you could only hear him. I couldn't hear. You had to go outside, walk around the stadium in Germany, to hear the rest of the band. But from the side of the stage, you could only hear him. And wow. it was majestic.
Yeah, I've always thought he was a good drummer.
The air between the snare and the hi-hat and the foot, it was just so much air in it, like Grand Canyon. But it was majestic watching them going, wow. You got to see, because I saw them in '69 for the first time at the Pavilion at the World's Fairground, and I remember MC5 were opening up.
MC5 opened for Zeppelin.
Yeah, it was Zeppelin, and this was late '69 or early '69, and it was a place at World's Fairground, the Shea Stadium
in Queens,
whatever, in Queens, yeah. A place called the Pavilion, which I think is still standing there, and they were doing concerts in the summer. I got to see Rhinoceros and Buddy Miles Express and Pacific Gas and Electric, a lot of bands.
That was a good band.
But Zeppelin was playing, and it was really very like, wow, this is really different. This is not your typical blues band. This is something really special, and the songs were very special, and the approach to the singer was very special. And the bass guy doing Motown bass with the drummer going, wow, this is very cool. This is, that I went like, wow, that's very cool. And you could tell the Motown influence. You could tell the drummer R&B. And it's like having R&B guys playing behind these rock gods.
Yeah.
It was the four of them worked great. And then he was, John Paul would do the Mellotron and keyboard parts going.
Such an incredibly talented human being, that guy. I mean, the whole band.
Yeah, the whole band. Yeah. But John should have got, again, equally, they're all equally the same.
Yeah, totally.
In power and source, even though, Page and Plant wrote a lot of the songs, but equally the same to me.
Oh, talent-wise, yeah, but because they were the front guys.
Yeah, they were
more fans.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The lead singer, guitar players. Who knew?
Yeah, right. Imagine that. Top 3 musical experiences you've had.
Oh, fuck. Anything to do with Bowie, for sure. Anything to do with Labelle, because it was my early years, opening up for The Who and opening up for Curtis Mayfield, Donny Hathaway. Wow. Those moments in time of supporting Earth, Wind & Fire with Labelle and watching these 3 girls knock the shit out of everybody. Just do their thing, whether you're going to like it or not. The 3 girls who are 3 lead singers. It wasn't just one. It was 3 lead singers, and it was so powerful and so big, and it was usually an emotional experience, because they were just, again, they were like girls singing through Marshall amps, because it was so powerful. We had to kind of lean back from the wedges, Eddie and I. It's like, and it was just big, and they were there, and they were there, clear as a bell. They weren't like singing background. The 3 of them were lead singers.
Yeah.
Even though Patti was the head matriarch, but what they all did together as a team was very unique and very different from a black rock, for a female black rock group for back in the day. They were very different from the Supremes and everybody else. Very different, very approaching different things and listening to different kinds of music. A lot of great that was a great experience. I mean, those are the two, Bowie, Labelle. A third one, wow, I have to really think about that. I guess would have to be getting out of New York, my early years.
What made you leave the city?
Didn't really have a choice. I mean, either you grow and follow the pack or stay and do nothing. That's at that point in time, that's where things ended up pretty much in. My kind of 60% reason was my brother just passed away. So I didn't want to be in Brooklyn. I didn't want to be.
I get that.
I didn't want to be in New York, and the guys in Buff were leaving to go to Philly. I said, you know what? Let me just travel. Let me see what it's like to travel out of the city again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Buff went to Philadelphia, where Buff met Labelle, and that went on. That's what opened the door of traveling and touring with these amazing three women who completely were very different. It wasn't like being behind a backup. We were a backup band, but not behind R&B singers. We were behind some magical women.
Yeah,
just absolutely, and it upgraded what we were about, and we were upscale, and it was like learning at the same time. So you would be in school at the same time too, and it was going into, because a lot of those influences I still use vocal arrangements like when I hear for a background part of it, and somebody is stuck somewhere, I say try these through intervals or something, because of Labelle, because it's just gospel, works in any situation if you put them in the right place.
Yeah. So you've been out of New York quite some time now.
Yeah, after 1970, moving to Philly, then with Labelle stuff, that took me out. I was gone for about 10 years. I didn't really come back home till like 79. I lived in Philly till 79. And then from 79, I just went straight to Germany and then I stayed in Europe. Okay. I just kind of stayed and went with the team, a group of people that I was traveling with, and just to educate myself to be in Europe. And again, I was, besides music, anthropology, that kind of stuff for me was very important, in the antiquities and watching castles and going to Spain and, the castles in England and those things as a kid, as art, like, Dali and Picasso and all that kind of stuff. That stuff was wide open in Europe. And the way the kids were educated there was quite different than the way I grew up.
Yeah,
and
sure.
They knew a lot of stuff and spoke different languages.
Well, dude, you grow up in the projects. It's different than anywhere. It's just like,
it is, in my neighborhood where I grew up in Brooklyn, we had a Syrian, there was, besides the Jewish community, we had Syrians and Lebanese people had trades and stores on Atlantic Avenue.
Sure.
So as a kid, you smell the foods and the spices.
Yeah.
So I always remember that. And then the next block was a mosque on State Street.
Right.
So it was all in one area. So I kind of grew up that way.
Yeah.
So it was very natural for me to move through Europe. And it didn't seem different to me. It seemed like it was part of my past or part of my DNA.
Yeah.
Because it was very natural for me to walk around through Amsterdam or walk through, Lebanon or something. Or to this day, it's very natural to me to go to Dubai or go to Morocco, dress like them locally and be a part of, to me, it never seems strange. I get hired for jobs because some guys don't want to go overseas. And I go, yeah, where are we going? We're going to go to Beirut, do a gig. I said, yeah, let me know when. I'm down.
Yeah.
Now, I was very easy that way. And then living in Germany, an hour either direction. I'm in the center. I can go to Paris. I could be in Switzerland. I could be in Italy. And when I would go to those countries, meet these people, kids or young people, or the guy who's who's working with the company, it opened up, food. Antiquities and history, and you see Florence, and like, wow, it just blows you away. It's not the same building. It's a yes.
Yeah.
Stuff like that Even as a kid, because I was always into travel as a kid in school, because I wasn't great in school, never graduated high school, but art I was always very gravitated to, like like I said, Picasso and Dali, paintings, architecture, but I didn't realize how much I was really in love with Islamic art.
Yeah.
The printings and the shapes of the ceilings and the walls and whatever, like in Morocco, their architecture fucking just blew me away. And that's why I ended up, and then especially when I started doing flamenco music, mixing the Middle Eastern stuff, I got to go back into roots or whatever. And I always see a photograph of a building or a shape and form. I'm going, wow, why is that so beautiful? They got so much drama and terrorists and all this kind of stuff. And they got all this beautiful art that's absolutely stunning. Like, let me see if I can find, for lack of a better name, what's a quick second, like Granada, stuff like that, like southern part of Spain, Andalusia, stuff like that. I was really gravitated towards. So when I travel from Germany and do gigs in Spain locally with Nektar or whatever bands, or with Bonamassa, I would always go to the museum, or I would go to the southern part of Spain, or I travel by myself and do it and meet a friend. But I think in my other life, I would have wanted to be like Indiana Jones or something, to be honest.
Well, that's cool that you got that. That's a nice hobby.
I just, that intrigues me. Old antiquities and the bottom of the ocean, topographics and stuff like that, oceanography. And those are the other things, because of travel, I get to do those things. I get to see other things. And
do you scuba?
Yeah, I used to be able to. I have like, my asthma's gotten worse, but that was a blessing too, to do scuba, which I really loved. Cool. I enjoy the crap out of it. Yeah. And you're down there and it's very quiet and very peaceful and very beautiful.
Well, it's a different world. Literally, you're down there. It's not. Yeah. It's not the world you just left.
Completely, it's like upside down or something, or going up in the sky or something. But it's just very quiet and very peaceful.
Yeah.
No turbulence unless unless it's sharks or whatever. But again, even with beauty, there's always this. It's like evil, good and evil.
Yeah.
Even with beautiful stuff, there's always this ugly, and it's just part of life as it is. But it's just the beauty of art. Again, sorry, I'm going going away from the bottom.
No, it's
but
totally
with the
cool.
Bonamassa tour, the Bonamassa tour, I got to do more stuff with Rod Stewart and Bowie. I got to really enjoy more because David was very much into art. David was always very educational, but you never felt below him. To this day, I was the science of that kind of stuff. Like I said, oceanography and topographics and anthropology. I love stuff like that. I love digging around if it was possible. And that's why I said to you earlier, Raiders of the Lost Ark, when I saw that movie, I went like, oh, wow, that's what I want to do, besides the adventure, but looking and finding stuff that's historical that can actually help us move forward.
Yeah. Educational
wise, that, a rock that's unreadable, only some people can read this kind of information, and it can tell you the truth of what really happened. What is the story behind, Noah's Ark? Was that a one story? Or was that a one-off? It's an old biblical story from thousands of years before, but that's my other love, antiquities and artifacts and the Mediterranean Sea, which I think is beautiful, traveling through it, and Granada, the buildings in Granada, absolutely still to this day, still blow me away. Traveling through Morocco, to the Middle East. Somehow my soul or my DNA has gone through all those travels too. Because besides my family coming from living in Puerto Rico, they came from Spain and the southern part. So there must have been some sort of connection between Portugal and parts of Spain and North Africa. It's in my bloodline. Yeah. And what's it called that? Italy, Sicily. It's in there too, in my bloodline. So, and those places have been taken over by the Greeks and by the Moors, and by Germans, and they've had so much blood on that land in Europe.
I see a DVD video series here.
Me and you, you and I digging in the ground, you know.
Today in architecture
roof,
with Carmine Rojas.
Right. On the roof, in a project roof, somewhere in the Bronx, digging through a corner somewhere.
Today we examine some graffiti from a famous artist,
right.
Zoom.
Right.
You notice him all over the train.
From back in the day, yeah. Artifacts, yeah.
Played 3-card money.
There you go. He's a real person, yeah.
God. I mean, I had to ask you this question. I need a big segue. Low points. Tell me what were some of the low points you had to deal with, and how'd you get through them?
They would probably have to be family stuff.
Yeah.
Death in the family. There's points where, as a musician or an artist, moving forward, where I felt like I couldn't move forward. There've been points. There's been many moments in my life where not going the right direction, or not moving quick enough, or and you just kind of have to wait. It's like almost like waiting your turn. But you got to make sure you don't miss the opportunities. So when they arrive, as the opportunities come, you take them and you work them out. Hopefully they'll be in your favor.
I've worked for myself for like 22 years, and you guys are self-employed. Most musicians don't look at themselves as entrepreneurs, but they really are. Yeah.
In a funny way, we are, but a lot of us are terrible in business. That's why we hire all the different people. Right. And because that's their gig, because they know how to work those numbers. Very difficult to trust them.
Totally.
Because for us, it's coming from a sacred place. For them, it's coming from a machine.
Correct.
And it's not, there's nothing to do with, and it shouldn't. There's no blues playing a fucking computer, No. Like my girlfriend, like she's a court reporter, and she's been in it for 30 years, but she hates the gig because it gives her nothing emotional. It doesn't replenish her love for art and stuff like that. So that's really what she wants to do.
But what I was going to say is that this is the nature of being an entrepreneur. You just have downtime sometimes, and it sucks.
Yeah, and it sucks.
And you got to wade through it and wait, and it happens. But I had this client many years ago. He said, there's a dirty 4-letter word that fixes everything. And I said, what was it? What's that word? He said, time.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
Wow.
It's so true. Yeah, but just because you know the secret, it doesn't make time go faster. Yeah. That's the problem.
No, it doesn't at all. It's again, there's so many different kinds of players and stuff like that. But if you don't do the homework, and if you don't leave the room and have people happy with what you've done, appreciate what you've done, there's no point of doing it, because you still at the end of the day, you got to come through.
Yes.
As a player, you got to come through with the magic. At the end of the day, that's what they're hiring you to do. They're going to hire someone else. So you still got to come through. So you got to put the work in it. You got to mentally put the work in it, craft wise, listening wise, do the homework, whoever hires you, know what their backgrounds are, kind of. So, you're not going to repeat what the other guy did, but you're going to, at least you know what ballpark you're dealing with.
Sure.
The guy's going to wear a red dress, because he occasionally wears a red dress. So he's going to come in one day wearing a red dress.
Right.
So, okay, that's who he is. So I'm not surprised. So it's always good to educate yourself as much as you can with the project, or whoever you work for or work with, because the unstable thing is human beings. We're really unstable. Yeah. And it depends who you're working for. You have no idea what this guy just came from, or what he's going through, or what he's trying to reach. So you have to be there, focused. Okay, where do we go? How do we move around, maneuver? But again, you got to put the work in it to do it. You can't just show up and play. You have to understand, and a lot of it is psychological. It's psychologically. I mean, your human behavior, that's part of the gig.
Yeah, totally.
It's half talent and half what do you call social skills.
Yeah,
living in the world. If you're going to live in the world as a musician, half of it is talent, and the other half is your social skills, how you deal with people, which is really important, because you can turn people off by walking into a room, and first thing comes out of your mouth is something that's going to make somebody uncomfortable.
No, it's like putting a pin in a balloon, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so and then you can't walk into a room afraid, because you can't please everybody, which you should never do. You just kind of you got to walk in confident, say, cool, let's get a hang on, make everybody feel comfortable. Let's do this as a team, because this is the only way we're going to win this project, whatever it is, whether it's music or business deal or whatever it is. It's the same philosophy all the way around, and again, I never asked to not play for 18 months. This was because of COVID.
Yeah.
I'm a little, ticked at that, but it's the shit we have to deal with. I like, if I'm going to retire ever, I want it to be under my terms. But this thing has really slowed me down and got me almost out of unsync, which in the end ended up being healthy, because I got to go back to playing a lot of different records and songs and go back much more to the photography stuff that I love and antiquity stuff, watching the Science Channel more, end up being home. So I took advantage of that situation and spending time with my girl and the new puppy, which is real life stuff, which you have to do.
Yeah.
But I never want to be far away from playing a tune or jamming with somebody or being a part of a group, because I'm still that kid that wants to be part of a tribe. I'll never change from that.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But again, these 18 months has been a little strange. It's strange to deal with. It's just. But I think it was asking me to slow down, which is okay.
That's the number one thing I've heard. Like, a lot of people took this time and said, hey, like, what can I get out of this?
Right. Exactly.
And that's the number one thing.
Yeah. I
need to give less fucks about stuff, and I need to just chill a little bit.
Yeah. And that's I looked at it thinking, okay, I'm still going to be giving someone. I'm still going to be a team player for someone if they call, or if it's possible to be in the same room with them or working with them. I'm still going to do that. Maybe I just perfect it even more, just, again, it's about being, loving and caring. And I just heard something today that I wanted to tell you. I heard it today. It was when we can invest in each other, we change the world.
Where'd you hear that?
When we can invest in each other, we change the world. And I thought that was brilliant. That's a really great thing. Today, I think it was something to do with the Prince and Marco, and what's her husband's name, from Prince Charles's son. Something they were doing today or this week or something, and one of them said it. I just thought, I said,
when we
wow,
can invest in each other, we can change the world.
Yeah. When we can invest in each other, we change the world. Again, team playing, unity, working with the universe together, protecting this planet as much as we can with all the other bullshit going on.
Yeah,
but because this is a really, not even between you and I, but with the world, this is an amazing planet.
I agree.
Planet has given so much to us and keeps giving to us, and we have to replenish and help her survive. And it's a she. It's definitely a she. Because, trees and air and water and food that we're polluting, she's struggling to fucking keep up, and we're just what do you call it, quickening the destruction of ourselves.
And it's not going to affect me or you, but I got 3 kids, it might affect them. I have a granddaughter, it's definitely going to affect her.
Exactly. Absolutely right. Something that could happen 200 years from now, technically, it's going to happen sooner now, because we're just not watching out for each other and taking care of it in general. But because it's traveling wise around the planet, I never can get enough of it, of traveling. I never get tired of it. I don't care how many hours it takes to get to Australia or to get to South Africa. I'm there in a minute. I feel good on planes.
Do you exercise? Because you seem like you're pretty fit. You seem like you take good care of yourself.
Nah, I do a lot of walking. I kind of built like a stocky Puerto Rican.
Oh, but you must eat healthy. You're not big.
Yeah, I do. I'm there's moments where I do extreme vegetarian or vegan. I eat very little meat.
Yeah.
We eat very healthy.
Yeah.
Do you know
That's
what I mean?
so
So
important, man. Let me tell you.
yeah, the food, the protein you put in, it's what comes, you know, you really do. It shows.
Yeah, it shows.
But again,
Man. It's energy level.
Energy level in America, too much sugar.
Oh,
In
big
Europe,
time.
they're very cautious of, you know, I can eat a full plate of something over there and won't feel uncomfortable.
Well, the portions are much smaller, man.
But that's up to you.
Yeah.
You know, the size of your fist is your stomach, basically.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I know the deal, man. I'm
and
totally.
And it's really important, the liquids and water and dehydration. Depends where you live. We have pretty bad pollution, and I have asthma, so I have to always be careful. But as I get older, it gets worse. My eyes and my lungs are my Achilles heels at the moment. And I was always told that when I was a kid, because I was a month premature. So those weren't really fully developed, my lungs and my eyes.
You're lucky. One of my kids is a preemie, and he's got he's got mild cerebral palsy because he was born 10 weeks early.
Wow. Yeah, I was a month. I was 4 weeks early or something. Yeah. And it was and the doctor told my mom, they were really good doctors. They knew exactly what was going to happen to my grandmother.
Were you born in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Long College Hospital on Atlantic Avenue in Hicks. Right off of Cabo Hill, actually, Cabo Hill in Brooklyn Heights. That hospital's still there. I still go visit it every now and then when I go back. Great memories.
Hey, let me ask you this. Worst gig ever?
Ooh. I would have to say, honestly, would be my early days somewhere too high, where you're uncomfortable playing, where it just doesn't feel right, and you shouldn't have never did that last bump.
Oh, you were too stoned, man. Where was this? If you remember.
Yeah, I do remember because it left an impression. It would have to have been the Beacon Theater. I was so
on
high.
72nd Street up there.
Yeah, the Beacon Theater. It was Labelle days.
Oh shit!
And I just say frozen to the gills. And we never would do that before a gig or as the gig was going, because it was a lot of work with Labelle. You know, it was definitely Labelle. It was a lot of work in any shows. Yeah. But we were just we got careless. You know, I got careless and.
But you were a kid.
Did one bump. Well, yeah, you know, I did one bump too many, and it was an uncomfortable feeling because your hands felt dirty. You couldn't slide down gracefully, and you were just too fucking high, you know. And it's not. It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel natural. You don't feel in place. You don't feel connected, and that's what made me uncomfortable. Not being connected to what's going on around me, and it again, it makes you feel like I'm not being part of the tribe, or I'm letting them down. And that's what happened in my head. And that's what happened that night. I felt like I was letting people down, even though we got through the gig, but not being there, not being present at the time for this important show. We did 3 nights at the Beacon, or a week, or something like a week at the Beacon, something we did something exceptional. That's
a great theater, man. To see show that great
to this day,
there, man.
It's awesome. The floor resonates like an old English theater. The floors in England, the old theaters. They resonate for bass, and the whole place hums. And it's really cool, you know.
Were they aware of it?
No,
they didn't.
I was.
Okay, yeah.
I was greatly aware of it, and I was really, you know, even after the show, like, oh man, it was being young and being stupid, and I never did that again. Yeah. You know, and I never not want to feel not connected to the gigs that I love very much, and playing with the team and not letting people down. I think that's more psychological in my head. I felt like I was letting people down, and I didn't, but nobody knew that. But yeah, it was one bump too many. That's what I call that gig.
Give me your top 3 Desert Island discs.
Oh, fucking hell.
Just for now, just for this minute.
If we have Wi-Fi, I would have like an ongoing loop of ECM music. Okay. On Apple Music, it's a thing called Atmospheres with ECM, and it's just something you just leave on, and you hear all these great new bands and old bands playing these great tunes. Joni Mitchell, probably.
Okay.
The orchestration version of Joni Mitchell, like The Rose and Both Ends or something, or I forget the name of the title. Yeah, Joni Mitchell, ECM, and again, any sort of the third thing would be probably anything that has to do relating to me about my 60s and 70s music, just on a loop. The soundtrack of my life as a kid, growing up, because that would cover a lot of stuff. And again, to be honest with you, something earlier we talked about, what broke the mode of coming out of New York and stuff like that was Latin Boogaloo. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, Joe Bataan.
Joe Bataan and Pete Rodriguez and Ray Barretto, because that was our music. Because you had Stax, you had Motown.
Yeah, that was
us playing
totally
R&B with Latin.
Totally.
So we felt connected as a team, as a tribe, even more so as musicians playing that kind of stuff. So that really helped us move forward, and that we could take this kind of stuff, Latin Boogaloo around the planet. That was a very good eye opener. That's why it was a perfect timing of the 67, 68, 69. And then came the Fonto All-Star. They were around too. But Latin Boogaloo, man, again, mixing world music together with Latin and rock or whatever, and that kind of stuff. That was pretty unique. And Santana doing what they were doing, and Malo. That was an eye-opener too. Santana was another one that was like, wow, you could do that,
Yeah, that was a great band back in the day.
Yeah, the original band.
Yeah, totally.
Up to even when they had New and Sean, which I saw, which was a great night.
Yeah, it was real good.
I saw at the Felt Forum. It was and New and Sean just joined the band.
That's a great place to see shows too, man. I've seen
Felt Forum.
Yeah,
some Vanilla Fudge
with Carmine.
Yeah, the original Vanilla Fudge guy. It was like their last days. It was them. I guess Buddy Rich was opening up or something. Big band. It was like a special show. Buddy Rich and Vanilla Fudge.
That's a weird combo, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it probably would have been. I think it was Carmen Appice's. It was his idea, I think.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Big Buddy Rich fan.
Tell me the best decision you ever made, Carmine.
Wow. Best decision I ever made was to jump into the deep end.
Musically,
just to jump in musically and my life in general, to get out of Brooklyn, to take that first step and to move forward as much as I could. That and something to do with love, just making my grandmother proud, and she was there for a lot of the shows. She would come and see the shows, and she was alive, seeing me being successful and giving back to her.
I was going to ask you that earlier. So she got to see some of your shows.
Yeah, she did. She came to see it's a Rod Stewart show. She saw the Bowie show. I have a funny one for you. We're playing Sears Moonlight Tour, 83. And she came to the show with my mom, seats or whatever, VIP seats. And for some reason, I see my mom on my right-hand side. And I can see she's saying, "We can't find Grandma." And I'm going,
you're on stage.
I can't do, I'm on stage, and, it's like, go find her or whatever. So I get one of the crew guys to go look for her to help one of our crew guys. And then next scene playing, I see her between Ron Wood and Tina Turner.
Oh, your grandmother?
She's true story. She's standing between them because on the side, and I look and I look the other way, going thinking, okay, that looks like my grandmother between Tina Turner and Ron Wood. I said, that's not possible. So I look and I see Arnold Dunn, the tech. Arnold Dunn, who works for the Stones and worked with the Bowie. Okay. He goes, we found her.
Yeah.
Found her. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck is she doing there? And she's looking at Tina Turner's hair, and my grandmother is a clown, and she's looking at Tina Turner's hair because it had like a squirrel,
Yeah.
So I forget how you say it in Spanish, but that's what she called Tina Turner. Who was that squirrel?
Oh
Yeah,
my God, that is
later
so
on,
funny.
what was that squirrel I was standing next to? I said, squirrel? What you talking about? He said, the squirrel like that. I said, Tina Turner. He said, who's that? I said, Grandma's a famous singer.
That's so funny.
She says, yeah, they both had this kind of same haircut. And she was busy looking at them and then goofing on me because I was wearing sandals.
Oh
Because
my
she
God.
thought I was barefooted. She hates people being barefooted. So
That's
the sandals were clear tone. So
she
thought I
so
was barefooted on stage because she wanted to see, and she got lost trying to get to, because she had to see, make sure I wasn't barefooted.
That is hysterical, man.
So I wouldn't embarrass her.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's great. Hey man, once your grandma, always your grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Still. But she called her the squirrel. Who's a squirrel? I said, what's
That's
squirrel?
hilarious.
Because she doesn't remember names, because if she looks at you, she'll come up with a great name. There's a guy from school. He's really thin and he wears this hat, looks like an eraser. So she calls him lápiz en goma, which in Spanish is it's a pencil without an eraser.
Okay, yeah.
Without an eraser, lápiz en goma, without the eraser. So she called him lápiz en goma. So and then she cut his name down to Lops. So his name was Lops through the whole time. He said skinny.
That's some old school shit, man.
Yeah. Where's Lops? He's over there,
That's hilarious, man.
Lápiz en goma. Oh, she was very funny, my grandmother. She was very comical and very, you couldn't be on a bus with her. You couldn't be on a bus going to the grocery store without her spotting somebody. And she says, look, Edgar G. Robinson. I look at her and I'm afraid to look. So I look and there's an older woman, Spanish lady sitting on the side. She looked just like Edgar G. Robinson.
No.
And I said, you got to be fucking kidding. So I looked down, and as I go tell my mom, she already heard what it was. And my mom is behind us already peeing. Trying not to laugh. So my grandmother goes, in Spanish, translated, why are you embarrassing us? So my grandmother gets up and gets out of the bus. I go with her. I left my mom on the bus peeing.
Oh my God.
Sitting behind us. And we left her, but she got off like 2 stops later. My grandma was real stern. Yeah, it was.
That's funny, man.
She was something else.
Hey,
she could not remember people's names. She had to find something to remember what you look like, but that lady looked like Edgar G. Robinson. Swear to God.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, Little Caesar.
Hey, what do you like most about yourself?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, wow. If I was a second person or a third person, probably how loving I am to strangers. Probably. I give in pretty easy to strangers. I embrace them, hug them. I'm still a hugger pretty much, even though these times people misinterpret it, but people know me pretty well. I don't know. That's a good one, man. I don't really know. I think I'm still not tired of searching. I'm still not tired of searching, bettering myself as a player or as a person, as an adult, to give back to the planet. You can never ever stop giving back to paying it forward. I think I answered that right. I think.
That's so what you like most about yourself is your desire to keep improving, basically.
Yeah. I'm still hungry for more knowledge. Yeah, I'm still very curious, and it's because it really is about educating. And if I had the same strength as a kid, I would have graduated out of high school. But dyslexic too. I'm dyslexic a little bit. So I had. Back then, I really had a problem reading and looking and concentrating, and I couldn't do homework at night because I could sleep. If I read something, I fall asleep.
Oh, plus if you're dyslexic at night, you can't read in the dark. If I remember correctly, it's almost impossible.
Even if it was daytime, if I read something, I'll fall asleep because it would tire me.
Yeah.
So I really had a hard time doing homework, and my grandmother couldn't help me with the homework.
Of course,
because she didn't really read English. So I had struggled for a long time. And there were only some teachers, like my art teacher, who picked up on it and just, was very supportive. And whenever I did a homework about maps or about the world, I was enhanced going, well, yeah, I know what city that is, or what state, and I would get 90 or 100 points on it. But yeah, stuff like that, because he saw I admire art and maps, and maps later years was the perfect thing for touring. I was a map king. I was like, oh yeah, I know this park here is behind Florence, and there's a historical thing in Rome and things like that, which again, the antiquities and all stuff came in as part of it, Maya ruins and all that kind of stuff. And, I was just really into all those things. To this day, I still am, the science of all that kind of stuff.
Tell me the happiest moment or happiest time in your life.
Probably when my mom, my brother, my uncle, we all moved in together, and we were together for 2.5 years. Because there was my uncle was married to someone else, separated from his family. My mom separated from her family, her situation with her ex-husband, and we all lived under one banner with my grandmother as the matriarch. And it was the funniest and most fucking gorgeous time in my life, which I'll never forget. With my brother, my uncle, and it was, again, thinking about it, very tribal, very family, the group, the gang. And it was 2.5 years of that. It was bliss.
That's a very nice story, man. I like that a lot.
I've never, and it made my grandmother happy too, because she had her gang with her, her gang with her, and we were all loving, and we were just there and goofing and laughing and cracking up on each other, and it was every day was always some shit going on, and we started laughing because it was always laughter. We watched last year the black and white TV together, Gunsmoke, watching war movies, and Hogan's Heroes together, and
Hogan's Heroes,
the stuff like that. I'm just flashbacking,
Of all the places you've traveled, what do you like the best?
To be fair to the planet, she's absolutely amazing what she gives to us. For me, the most complete place to me, I've been, I love Australia, South Africa, I love Morocco, anything by the Mediterranean Sea. Italy, even though I'm Spanish, Italy has provided different regions for foods, culture, antiquities. It's endless with that stuff everywhere. I mean, there's not a region you don't go where you're going to find a Roman legion came through here and kicked somebody's ass or something to get out. Italy, it's my top 10. It provides endless. Positano and just areas. I mean, you just pinpoint, you drop like a dart or something on a map of Italy, and you're going to find something quite unique. Northern part, middle part, the south, and down to Sicily. It's just it's an interesting place. It's been through a lot of different wars and different kinds of people have lived there, from the Greeks to the Moors to the Germans, and there's never really real Italians out of there, to be honest.
I thought you were going to say Italy because you mentioned that the most.
There's something about that place. For me, it's Spain, southern part of Spain, Andalusia, special to my heart. But Italy, there's something about that place, especially food-wise, culturally, to people. It reminds me of home.
Well, let me ask you, speaking of food, what's your favorite New York City food that you miss the most?
Pizza.
Yeah. Isn't it like...
Yeah, it's funny. And again, it's because of the water.
Is that...
a lot
people
of it,
say that. Is that... I've never had pizza.
The water is hard here in Los Angeles. So a lot of people have money shipping water from the East Coast, but something to do with water and how you make it. You don't make it messy. You don't make a lot of it. You don't make it Americanized. Pizza's not that complicated.
No, but it's so fucking good.
It's just so good. Raised pizza, those days when you were a kid, and eat one, and you got the oil and all that crap.
Yeah.
which I always hated, but it was part of the deal.
Yeah, it's part of the deal.
Pizza I miss. The sound of listening to Puerto Ricans, Boricua, the bodega.
Yeah.
I still miss. I will always be close kinship to it. Still miss all that stuff and listening to the language. The Puerto Ricans walking down the street, people hanging out, the restaurants. Whenever I go back to do shows or whatever, I'm always with my cousin Dominic. So we walk a lot, and with Julian Lennon too. When he was in town, we do a lot of walking up and down. No subway. We just go for hours up and down East Coast, West, North and South, finding new locations. Museum of Art. I mean, we got this because New York has so much to give that you can walk to. You can walk to. You can take a subway to, and it's culturally just and it's closer to Europe. So I'm more keen of that happening. It was more closer to Europe. So I'm more in my heart and soul closer to the Europeans.
Would you ever move back there to the city?
If it wasn't so expensive, I would.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I've always dreamt of living in the Heights, in the Promenade. Because the Promenade, I don't know if you've ever been to it in Brooklyn Heights.
No, I don't know Brooklyn at all, man, to be honest with you.
If you're going to go to the Promenade. Because this is a landmark which is about a mile long. It overlooks the city. It's built over a highway. That's why. So it's a big walk. Like you sit down. It's like a park, but it's a mile long, pretty much. And you're looking. If I look to my right, I can see the Brooklyn Bridge. Manhattan's in front of me. I got the East River in front of me. I can see the Statue of Liberty. All those places. As a kid playing hooky,
right.
I used to dream of getting to Jersey or getting to Manhattan by walking the bridge, which is Chinatown.
Right.
So I've always dreamt of doing that, which I did eventually, bit by bit.
That's a great walk. We went I never walked the Brooklyn Bridge till about 4 years ago. It's so relaxing, man.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And so if you go to Brooklyn, if you're walking the bridge from Manhattan to Brooklyn, the Promenade is on your right hand side. It's called a promenade. Okay. And it's a ground level where you sit on the benches and you can see the whole city. So
it's right on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, I could do that.
The Promenade, or even get a taxi to it. And if you need a location to stop, go to Montague Street.
Okay. Oh, I used to date some girl lived on that street. That's really weird. That was like
Montague Street,
100 years ago.
That's a major street there, Montague and Hicks. But the Promenade is a place I used to go play hooky and dream of moving, of what it would be like to go to Jersey or go to Statue of Liberty or walk that bridge, go to Manhattan. That's why I used to dream a lot. And I always go there whenever I go to visit Brooklyn. I always go there and sit on the bench and say, wow, I've been around this planet. I looped around this planet many times, back and front, and I still dream, and that's why I can never get tired of traveling or touring. It's in me, like a wanderer, like a nomad.
Yeah.
I can go on a walkabout and not return most times. But the Promenade. You have to take your wife there because
I will, because we're going in like the spring. I've never.
And it's the best time to spring. Go to Montague Street, get a cab or a subway, Montague Street, and then go to the Promenade, because when you go there, you'll see it just opens up like a pigeon. The sky just opens up for you.
I never got, because Brooklyn's like the opposite end of the D train of the Bronx, and I always just envision it like the same set of misery 5 miles or 20 miles away. It was like
completely different.
Yeah,
completely opposite.
Okay. Yeah.
If you had enjoyed, the Bronx Zoo is one of my favorite places to go.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
That takes you like you're somewhere else in the world. Yeah, totally. This place will do that too. Because I remember as a kid growing up before the World Trade Centers and watching them go up and not being there for when they went down, but I watched New York grow, and the Port Authority is right there because you're looking down on everything. So you have like an eagle view of all this, the city, which is fantastic. The great view of Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, you can see.
I'll go and I'll take a picture. When I take a picture, I'll text you.
Please do.
When I'm there, I will.
Yeah.
We're gonna go in the spring. I'll make sure, because we liked walking the Brooklyn Bridge last time. We're talking about doing that again in the spring.
Do that and get to the Promenade.
I will. 100%.
You'll sit there and you'll dream too, because it makes you calm. And it's like, wow. That's why I used to go play hooky. If I had to run somewhere in the winter or spring, that's where I would go.
Bust out a cigar and sit on the bench like an old man. Hey man, just one more or two more questions.
Yeah,
First of all, I just want to thank you. Man. You're like, I knew you were going to be a ton of fun. I knew you're going to be keeping shit real, and you're a lovely guy. And I'm so thankful that we got to connect. So thank you very much.
You got a lot of edit. Sorry, man. So
no, dude, this isn't like when you go in the studio. This is like ghetto editing here, man.
Yeah, good. Yeah, if you can check out the redneck thing I said earlier, it's just I don't like calling people names or whatever, but they did have a tan back of the neck, so
no, you're good. Everything was you were yourself. Totally cool.
Yeah, the South has changed quite a bit, but still, you still got a lot of those.
What if you dealt? Listen, man, if you dealt with that shit, that's an ugly scar that you had to deal. Remember that guy? I asked you before we started. I said, Diego Garcia. So he's a guy. He's from Spain. Went to conservatory there. Started studying really young. But he was living in LA and traveling around. And I couldn't believe this. This is 2.5, 3 years ago. I see him post something. This is when, remember, like Arizona, there was something there with Latinos. I don't know.
Mexicans or whatever.
Something with some Latinos. It was like they were given a hard time, or I don't know what the deal was. But he posted something on social media and he said, I cannot believe this happened. I'm trying to go into a bar in Northern California to get a beer, and they wouldn't let me in because I'm Spanish. And I was like, dude, this is 2019.
Yeah. Well,
this isn't like 1819.
Yeah. But the last 4 years, things have changed back, and people want it to be, they don't realize how horrible it is. They think they wanted to go back and live the fucking, 15th century, whatever it is, medieval times, but they have no idea what it's like to be living in medieval times. They're not the color to know. It's just not a cool thing to do, to isolate people.
I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I said, Diego, he's a nice guy. He's just like he's a lovely guy. He's just
wanted a beer.
Yeah.
He just wanted a beer.
And I was like, man, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And these people weren't even born when all the stuff was going on. So they have gotten it from their parents. You're not born racist.
No.
This comes from educating, pre-education, stuff like that. You're not born hateful like that. You're born wild, true, but you're not born that kind of stuff.
But I was like,
exact detail like that,
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, not that it was my job to answer him or to say, but I like him. He's a sweet guy. In fact, the interview he did, he was like really proud because he goes, I've never spoken English this long. And I'm like, man, you did great.
Yeah,
good for you. I was honored. I felt like, like he gave me a gift, right?
You made him comfortable too, which is beautiful. Not easy for thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a super cool guy. So, anyway, I don't know how I got on that.
Arizona. Yeah.
Biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years, Carmine, and how much of that has been intentional and how much is just a part of aging, a natural part of aging?
I haven't really, well, I can't notice it. I mean, I have to have, somebody else has to acknowledge it. Probably, I don't know. That's a good question too. But have I noticed a change? Slowing down, probably. I've noticed myself slowing down, dealing with less stuff, maybe because of COVID. Actually, there's been a lot of that going on because of COVID.
Yeah.
Of just reorganizing. If we do come out of this thing, where am I going to be in placement of the planet? What's going to be the new gig, or what's going to be my life at that point? Because I'm not ready to retire even though we don't really have an industry anymore, to be honest.
No, and just to let you know, I don't know if this makes you feel comfortable. Everybody in our age bracket that I'm talking to has the same question.
Yeah.
Which I know because you talk to people.
Completely. Yeah. So either there we're here to help the youngins, pass on some good information for them so they can move forward. Where they're going to go, I have no idea. Because it was we worked at it. And there were a lot of possibilities. There were a lot of clubs back then that you can do, and there were a lot of shitholes back then you can play in. We went through the trenches with all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
How these kids do it these days, it's too easy. I mean, YouTube is fantastic. I love YouTube. I could bring up all kinds of shit going, oh, that's how you play that pattern.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like being a kid again. So YouTube has been a blessing.
Yeah, but the problem is with YouTube, it's now like my perception and that it's a job. People feel like, what are you going to do for, oh, I'm going to be an influencer, or I'm going to be, everybody can't be influenced.
No.
You know, everybody can't.
Yeah. You have to know what you want as an outsider. You know, if you want to be influenced by someone, you have to know what you're going to be chasing. I mean, you can get a lot of people to influence you and teach you something, but it may not be the right thing for you.
Yes.
Again, you know, it may not be your wheelbarrow, as they would call it.
Yeah.
And that you have to find out the hard way. You gotta fall and get your ass broken.
Yeah.
And get back up and, you know, go through it, make the mistakes. You got to make the mistakes. Don't be afraid of them. Embrace them. You know.
So slowing down.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you've changed.
That's so far.
Personality. Nothing. Personality changed.
Depends who I'm around. If you and I would be goofing, if it's Eddie, you know, the three of us, I'll be the same guy I've always been. You know. We'll be sitting there goofing about something. You know.
You know, the nice thing about these interviews for me, like when if I see you at NAMM or wherever, it's not going to be like, hello, you know, we're going to give each other a hug.
No, I'll give you a hug. And
of course.
You know, we'll look at Eddie's shoes and see what's got, you know, goof on his sneaker or whatever, you know. There'll be something you saw going, yeah, you saw like I'm the hair like this, you know, whatever.
Well, I like what you said. You said, who's that David Bowie looking motherfucker? That's such a New York thing, though. Yeah. Nobody would say that. That's like it just for that time period. For that time period, too.
Because it's weird, because I've never been that close to him, but this guy had, but the facial features were a Bowie-ish kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And the blondish hair, like,
who's that David Bowie looking motherfucker?
Yeah. It was quick, you know. Who's that David Bowie looking motherfucker?
That's great. Hey, let me tell, I can't thank you enough again, and I do hope to connect with you in person sometime.
You will, for sure.
I'd love to. Let me tell people, first of all, where to find you, what you got going on. If you are interested in working with Carmine on some tracks or production, message him on Instagram or Facebook. Please just like be respectful of his time, which honestly, I've not heard anybody being stupid, but
exactly.
Be respectful of his time. Send him some links. You know, what are you looking for help with? How can what made you think he could help you? What are you looking for? Same thing if you.
Yeah, exactly. And Carmine Rojas fans, because that's the only page that's open right now. Okay. The other one's full up. But the Carmine Rojas fans, a lot of fans, people, they all talk to each other. Great. It's a great hang, you know.
So Carmine Rojas fans, for you ultra white people's ROJAS. Also, if you want to talk with him on either lessons or consulting, but really like you'd have to probably have something specific, like how did he do something, or how would he approach a certain problem, or musically or production wise, or how did he come?
Right, because to be honest, you know, I don't spend that much time on the phone or even on a laptop. So the last time I could spend on it, you know, it keeps me, because what happens when you sit on this front of this thing, your day is gone. So I don't carry the phone. It's been years now. I actually carry the phone with me, even though I'm supposed to.
That's great, man.
And I wait. I just put the phone down and don't go. And she gets pissed at me. I try to call you. I say, well, you know, I don't carry the phone with me.
That's cool, man.
I walk the dog with no phone, even though you're supposed to in case of emergency. But I just, you know, that's what I learned. This COVID, it's 18 months. It's letting that shit go.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, that was part of it. That's another thing that came up.
So what he's saying is that it's going to be an in-person consultation, which will cost you a lot of bread. So be prepared to throw down. No. Like give him all the information you need if you're looking for help with something specific. Just hit him up on Carmine Rojas.
But be serious about that's where they want to go. I mean, you know, they have to be, you know, I mean, I know it's easy to say, and I know people will say that's where I want to go, but most of the time we don't really know that that's where we want to go. You know, it's just you know, it's hard to pinpoint where a person really wants to go, because I don't really, you know, you have to really know them.
And wanting something and being willing to do the work to get there are two different things.
Correct.
You know, everybody wants to lose weight. No one wants to go to the gym. Um, Carmine's band Ziroc, Ziroq. Check out the first record. It's world music. It's funky as shit. It's groovy and it's very cool. They have another record coming out. So pay attention to his socials. It'll be out probably the end of this year, or more likely the first,
of the year, the new year.
Yeah, for spring of the new year. Also, Carmine participates in Billy Gibbons' event every year. It's called America Salutes You, where you got a bunch of guitar legends come on and they perform, and it's in honor of military and first responders.
Correct.
So go to americasalutesyu.com. Right. You can find out more information on that. And he had something nice. Man, this is such a thoughtful guy. When I said, hey, what do you want to talk about? He goes, well, I'd like to talk about Derek Truck's 10 Commandments of Jam, because I think it'll help some other people. Not like, you know, how can I help himself? So that's the kind of guy he is. So what talk about that?
Yeah, that's great. That's if you can find that, that's really very cool. And there was something else for everyone, not just musicians, something called Life Rules. Life Rules.
By who? Do you know who?
Well, it's funny because I got this from Bob Lefsetz, Lefsetz.
Oh, I know. I've seen that guy's columns.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I got it from him. So if you go on his website, look for Life Rules.
Okay.
It's 9 subjects, but it's really very cool, and nothing to do with just being a person, a human being.
Right on, man.
And it's really helpful for the planet and everybody else in it, so we can function together as much as we can and help each other out.
Awesome. And if you need a spiritual guru, the cards don't lie.
the cards don't lie.
You remember that?
The cards don't lie, right?
Miss Cleo.
Yeah, Miss Cleo.
Hey, man.
She's good.
Thank you. Hang on one second. We'll wrap up, but thanks for everything, brother. I really appreciate it. Eddie, thank you for connecting us very much.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you, my brother.
Hang on one second. Let me say goodbye.
Say hi to your wife.
I will, man. I will.
Big culture.
I will. I got to tell you a story about. Anyway, hang on one second. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it around your social media channels. Thanks very much to Carmine Rojas. I would really like everybody to check out Ziroc. Go to his social media on Instagram and Facebook. If you want to work with him on tracks or consulting or lessons, just give him full details. Check out americasalutesyu.com and see him. When that's in December.
That's a new one coming up. We're filming another one in December.
Is that the next gig you got on the book?
Yeah. That one and a bunch of sessions. There's
awesome.
There's six separate sessions for end of October, bits of November.
Awesome.
And then Billy Gibbons in December and February with Billy Gibbons again.
That's great, man. He's back and he's better than ever. Trust me. Most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice. Go play your guitar or your bass and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Thank you for everything, brother.
You got it, bro.